You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
From the Play Show, yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor of 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to what is a Wednesday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all the great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, the iHeartRadio app, and also streaming live on YouTube. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. You could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter, at Zach Gelb, ZACHGELB, or you could even get us on TikTok these days, at The Zach Gelb Show. Whole lot to do today. Ryan Hot Take Hickey is going to join us coming up in studio in his weekly spot at 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time. Big game this weekend in college football. Nebraska will be hosting Michigan. So you got a little Michigan, Nebraska in Go Big Red country. Matt Rhule, the head football coach at Nebraska, is going to stop by live with us on the show at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific time. And then joining us in studio, former LSU quarterback, former NFL quarterback, former Florida Marlin when they were actually the Florida Marlins, Josh Booty is going to join us in studio today at 5 p.m. Eastern time. A happy birthday to Patrick Mahomes. And Stu, even though the Kansas City Chiefs right now are 0-2, even though it doesn't look like this is going to be a super duper successful season for the Chiefs, even though you can't count them out yet or say they're not going to make the playoffs yet unless if you're Carlos with a K. And I don't even think you could even go as far to say that the Chiefs definitely won't win the division yet. But this is the really first time in the Patrick Mahomes tenure, the Patrick Mahomes era in Kansas City, where I do think they are legitimately getting doubted. We've talked about them being vulnerable without Tyreek Hill. They've been to the last 3 straight Super Bowls. They won back-to-back championships before getting annihilated by the Philadelphia Eagles. But we've seen them now twice in the Super Bowl get annihilated. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, still weird to say, they annihilated Kansas City. And then whatever is one-upping annihilating is whatever the Philadelphia Eagles did with Jalen Hurts, with A.J. Brown, with Jalen Carter, with Zach Bond, with Nick Sirianni, up against Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and also Andy Reid. This is the first time where I think if you wanted to get in front of the microphone and say the Chiefs aren't going to a Super Bowl, is there still a chance that they are? Because they were doubted last year, yes. But I think it's the first time where if you say it, you're not just grabbing the low-hanging fruit, trying to elicit a response, have a contrived take that's going to do numbers on social media. Now, the Ravens will have to get over 2 mountains. That's Buffalo and Kansas City. The Bills will have to get over the Kansas City mountain. The Bengals, I can't expect much out of them the rest of the way. So the AFC is still open. Like, I like what the Chargers are doing to start the season. The Broncos are on the verge of being 2-0. I still think the Broncos have some time to take that next step, though. You look at the AFC South, it looks like the Texans are regressing. And is anyone, even though the Colts are a feel-good story and a fun story, does anyone think Indianapolis is going to an AFC championship game or a Super Bowl? No. The Steelers, they're not a Super Bowl contending team. So you look around the AFC, even with the Chiefs' problems, even with the Chiefs' flaws and weaknesses right now, they could still get to the Super Bowl this year. They just have to get into the postseason. And that may be the toughest part for them this year, is just getting into the postseason. But once they're in, do we think that even if Baltimore looks like, let's say they're a 14-2 team in the regular season, just throwing out a number there, or Buffalo's 14-2, would we still go into a playoff game saying that the Buffalo Bills and Baltimore Ravens, even if their records were just so much better than Kansas City, would you really give the edge to Baltimore? Would you really give the edge to Buffalo? With the pain and suffering that they've had the last few years, and also the real estate that Patrick Mahomes owns in the cabeza of the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens? Probably not. And by the way, a happy 30th birthday today to Patrick Mahomes. And Stu, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I don't think Mahomes is going to be playing Brady time 43, 44, 45. But with that being said, you sit there, and when you see that Mahomes turns 30, you probably say to yourself, okay, 8 to 10 more years. So you're still looking at another decade, but at least that time is starting to tick away. And the other thing here, which is going to be fascinating, and you look at Brady, right, and his version of the Patriots dynasty, because what do? We compare the Patriots, we compare the Chiefs, we compare Brady, we compare Mahomes. In Brady's first 3 championships, that was a defensive-heavy football team. They didn't really have these explosive weapons. Their best weapons were Corey Dillon and Deion Branch. Like, they won Super Bowls with David Patton, David Givens, Jermaine Wiggins, Christian Fourier, for crying out loud. It wasn't as if they had these elite weapons. Now, Deion Branch was good. He won a Super Bowl MVP. Corey Dillon was disgruntled in Cincinnati. Really good running back, borderline Hall of Famer, goes to New England and he wins wins a championship. Kevin Falk was a really underrated player. But in that first iteration of the Patriot dynasty, it was more defensive driven. And in a weird way, because Mahomes has won 3 Super Bowl MVPs, you could make a case that the first wave of this Chiefs dynasty was really defensive driven. You look back at some of those games, look at the defensive plays that Chris Jones has made. Batting down the ball at the line of scrimmage up against the San Francisco 49ers in their first championship. There have been some big defensive moments when they beat the Eagles. I think it was Nick Bolton who had a touchdown, I'm pretty sure, in the game. And he almost had a second one, but then they called it back. So the defense really did shine bright for Kansas City. But because it's Mahomes, right, because it's Travis Kelce, there's going to be a lot of, look how great the Kansas City Chiefs offense was because they had so many miraculous comebacks. They came back against Houston. They came back against Tennessee. They came back against the 49ers not once, but twice. They came back against the Philadelphia Eagles. It's absurd the amount of comebacks that Kansas City's already had. But where there's another similarity, and Tyreek Hill is obviously a better player than Deion Branch, but Tyreek Hill talked himself out of Kansas City. Deion Branch talked himself out of New England. And right, guys like Deion Branch and Tyreek Hill were really reliable weapons for Brady and for Mahomes. And David Givens, David Patton, and Troy Brown, even though they were good players, it's kind of like what Kansas City has now, where, yeah, they fear you because of Mahomes. You fear them because of Mahomes, but you don't fear the wide receivers individually. And after that third Super Bowl, even though Branch wasn't there for all 3, Deion Branch got traded to the Seahawks. Now, after their first Super Bowl, Tyreek Hill got traded to the Miami Dolphins. So the next wave of the dynasty, what did the Patriots do? Well, they went 10 years without winning a Super Bowl, which is still crazy. But they tried, right, Wes Welker. They made the big move for Randy Moss. Eventually, they hit in the draft. Julian Edelman became a star. Rob Gronkowski became one of the all-time great tight ends. But when you look at the Patriot 20-year run, there was Chapter 1, then there was Chapter 2, and then there was Chapter 3. Chapter 1 featured 3 championships. Chapter 2 featured an improvement in Tom Brady's individual play, but 2 Super Bowl losses to the New York Giants. And then Chapter 3, you look at the core from Chapter 1 to then what Chapter 3 had, it's drastically different. The only same pieces from there were maybe Vince Wilfork, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, Robert Kraft, and like Josh McDaniels, if we're just being honest. But in that third chapter, you had other players emerge. Whether, it was a multitude of running backs, Shane Vereen, James White, right? Guys that ended up finding a role working next to Brady. New offensive linemen like David Andrews. The wide receivers with Danny Amendola, Julian Edelman, tight end, Rob Gronkowski. You even had Brandon LaFell, I think, for one of those championships, who caught a touchdown in that Super Bowl up against Seattle. So there was a different wave there. Now Kansas City's in the mode where they're starting to get in the different wave. I don't think Andy Reid's anywhere close to retiring yet. You look at Patrick Mahomes, he turned 30 today. He's got 8 to 10 years left probably. But now it's the other pieces. Like Travis Kelce, he's starting to look, dare I say it, washed on a football field. The last 2 years he's declined. He still had numbers that a lot of tight ends would like. But through the first 2 games of the season, especially in that second game, you see him with the drop that he had that turned into a pick 6. And he even before the season was saying, I had other priorities last year, and maybe that took away from me on the football field, blah, blah, blah. This is the end of the road for Travis Kelce. I don't think Travis Kelce is playing past this season. So you still have Chris Jones. You lost some players on defense that got bigger contracts. That's what happens when you win. But now you need to find out who's that next wave of weapons. And if the Chiefs ultimately hit on that next wave of weapons, then they'll get back to winning Super Bowls. Heck, look, last year, there weren't a lot of consistent pieces with the Kansas City Chiefs, and they still got to a Super Bowl. So I look at Kansas City right now. It's what can they do from now until the trade deadline to maybe where they could go get a championship this year when they probably aren't built to win a championship. Outside of just having Mahomes and Reed, and they could cover up a lot of the warts and still find a way to be very competitive. Just get you to a spot where you're playing Baltimore in the playoffs. Just get you to a spot where you're playing Buffalo in the playoffs. Because until one of those teams beats you, you will still get the benefit of the doubt. And even though it took years later, and even though he wasn't the same player, Tom Brady eventually got Deion Branch back. I think people forget that. And I look at Tyreek Hill right now. He's miserable in Miami. Mike McDaniel doesn't have a damn clue what he's doing. Tua Tagovailoa, his career's on thin ice. And Tyreek Hill, he's a jackass, don't get me wrong. But Tyreek Hill already showed you his cards last year when he said he didn't want to come back. So if you're Kansas City, if you're Brett Veach, aren't you calling every day trying to get Tyreek Hill? And even if Tyreek Hill ends up acting like an a-hole, which he's the king at acting like an a-hole, you're Kansas City. If it doesn't work out, you could just get rid of him. But the juice would be worth the squeeze for you. And you're going to need Xavier Worthy to come back and produce. Rashee Rice, when he gets out of this suspension of 6 games, which is deserved, and the free 4 shirts were just idiotic. I don't need to go off on that again. But he needs to start playing well. You know, they still have a chance to patch this together. And there's some years you win a Super Bowl when probably you shouldn't win a Super Bowl. It happens. And Buffalo, we could keep on saying they're ready for the moment. Baltimore, we could keep on saying they're ready for the moment. Maybe the Chargers will surprise some people. It's only week 2 now. You know, I've been through this song and dance with Buffalo. I've been through this song and dance with the Baltimore Ravens. And I was at that AFC Championship game where the Chiefs offense didn't do much. Mahomes told me after the game he was a game manager in the game, and the Ravens still lost. I've talked up the Buffalo Bills now for a while, and somehow, some way, they keep on, even though they play well, they keep on losing, and they create new ways to lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. So right now, the Mahomes outlook on this season does not look good. But it's only 2 weeks. They're only 0-2. I've seen the Patriots. I lived this story. I've seen them start off slow, get questioned. Everyone say that they're dead, and they find a way to pull out of it. You lose to the Giants this weekend, you're not dead at 0-3. But if you lose to the Giants at 0-3, it's going to be tough for me to keep on treading water and saying I see the light at the end of the tunnel with this team. But even if they beat the Giants this weekend, it doesn't mean they're back. Because the following week, they play Baltimore. Then I think they play Jacksonville. And then after that, I think they have Detroit. You just got to weather the storm here in the first 5-6 weeks. And look, as bad as that performance was and as bad as it looked up against the Philadelphia Eagles, they still almost had a chance to win the game. If Kelsey doesn't drop that ball, maybe they win the game. You know, it wasn't as if you walked away from that game and you said, oh, the Eagles dominated Kansas City. But this is the first time I think where it is warranted to at least question Kansas City. Where if you're going to tell me this is Buffalo's year or Baltimore's year, I'm not going to just dismiss you right away. They still have to accomplish it. But right now, Kansas City, it's not just how you immediately fix it this year. Because I don't know really outside of getting Tyreek Hill or maybe make another move what you could really do. But it's long-term, what are the pieces that you're going to bring in to help out Patrick Mahomes? You got to find your Rob Gronkowski. You got to find your Julian Edelman. You got to find your Danny Amendola. And it doesn't always have to be an established guy. Like when Gronk was coming out of college, he fell to the second round because of back injuries. Julian Edelman, people thought he was never even going to make the roster. I think he was on the roster 3-4 years before he eventually replaced Wes Welker. You know, Danny Amendola had some injuries, but he was clutch in the playoffs. When you have a quarterback like Brady, when you have a quarterback like Mahomes, you don't need the most elite talent around him. You need a strong piece around him, right? Brady had Gronk in the second iteration of the dynasty. In the first iteration of what is the Chiefs dynasty right now, they had Travis Kelce. They had Tyreek Hill. But in the second chapter, you just need good pieces, very good pieces, reliable pieces. And if you do that, Mahomes will go on to not only win another Super Bowl, but maybe 2 or 3 more Super Bowls. But what the Chiefs need to do in the next 2 to 3 years is they need to get this right. They need to start bringing in talent and having that talent not be, oh, well, they have potential after 1 year, and then, oh, after the second year, I think they could work, and then after the third year, oh, maybe it's not working out, or maybe they're not going to be as good as what we thought. The Chiefs owe that to Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has now been to what? 5 Super Bowls? Right? He's won 3, lost the 2, so he's been to 5 Super Bowls. He could get you back to more. Like, he could get you back to a Super Bowl this year. But if you don't improve this team now, or if you don't improve this team in the future, you'll run into a buzzsaw like Tampa Bay or like the Eagles. Because I look at the NFC this year, the NFC right now is more established. You got Philadelphia. You got the Commanders. You got the Packers. You got the Lions. Right? You got the Buccaneers. You got the Rams. I know the 49ers have a quarterback injury problem right now, but you got the 49ers. The NFC is deeper than the AFC. But not everyone's playing an even game. When you have Mahomes, you have a great advantage. And I know Mahomes hasn't looked great this year, and he didn't look great last year. But when you have him, a bad year for Mahomes or a unsuccessful season for Mahomes is usually better than 99% of the league. Because for Mahomes, fair or not, the rest of his career, you're not going to win a Super Bowl every year. Like I said, Brady went 10 years without a Super Bowl. But for the Patriots and Brady, it was, do you win the Super Bowl or not? I always used to joke, the Patriots season, it really doesn't start until AFC Championship game. They didn't always get to the AFC Championship game. They went to a lot of them. But that's when the season really starts. And for the Chiefs, even at 0-2, they still have the expectations of Super Bowl or bust for the foreseeable future. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll take a timeout. We'll get to a news brief next. The NFL season is rolling. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code GELB. That's code GELB, G-E-L-B, for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, you could be eligible to get over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket subscription from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Must be 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Must be present in state where it is lawful to wager. Fees may apply in Illinois. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets are non-cash credits that expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer valid until September 29th, 2025.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
Alrighty, a lot of backlash with the tush push after last week's Eagles-Chiefs game. Let's go to the WIP afternoon show with Ike Reese, some guy named Spike Eskin, and Jack Fritz. Here is Jordan Mailata on the tush push talk.
I understand it. I understand the outrage. What I don't understand is them using it as an excuse to why we won the game.
Right.
I think it's incredibly disrespectful to our defense and our special teams who balled out. You know, my brothers on defense and special teams who balled out that game, who had our backs when we weren't moving the ball or we weren't doing anything. You know, and so when I see those things and they fly across my timeline here and there, you know, that kind of irks me a little bit. That pisses me off because we give so much to this game, and to kind of base off a short yardage play that is a football play, and say that we won the game off that, but not how our defense played, not how our special teams have played, putting us in those positions. You know, I think it's bullcrap. Pardon my French. Hey, let me press this dump button.
No. Bullcrap is fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, that one's fine.
I think I was going to say a lot of other stuff, but you know, I just think it's rubbish. It's absolute rubbish, man. It makes my blood boil just thinking about it.
I don't know why. You give me an Australian guy talking, I don't know how you could be mad at him. Even if you hate the tush push, you hear an Aussie talking like that, how can you actually debate him? And I agree with everything Jordan Mailata said right there. Let's go to Jason and Travis Kelce. They're on their New Heights podcast, and they discussed the criticism of the tush push.
I'm also kind of tired of it. I'm tired of talking about it.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. I get that there's like a hair of a second early on some of these. Some of them are legitimate false starts. Some of them I feel like fall well within the parameters of any other short yardage play. And this is the other thing. The false start thing, that thing is going to happen whether it's a tush push or a regular quarterback sneak.
It's not the reason why we lost the game. I don't care what anybody else says about that. We should have won that game in other aspects of the entire 4 quarters that we played football. And congrats to the Eagles.
I feel like that's just an unnecessary curse. I really do. there's sometimes legitimate curses when you mean it. That just seems as if Travis Kelce was cursing to try to be too cool for school, you know? Just try to be a cool kid there. Let's go to Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed and Stu Kovacs have something in common. They sound similar. Jaden Reed sounded like Stu, smoking Stu, on a Saturday night when he's home alone in his apartment. This is Jaden Reed on Instagram Live. This is the slug line that Samter wrote for me. Sounds like he's high as hell after shoulder surgery. Listen up.
You got a whole bunch of people on here. You want to turn it off? Tell them hi. Tell them that you're
Pack
good.
us to the bowl, bro.
Okay.
Bruh.
Tell them you good. And then we're going to
I'm good. Thank you for the prayers, bro. But we turned, bro.
Okay.
We going all the way, bro.
Okay, that's it.
Nah, bro. They can't us, bro.
Okay.
That's amazing. Have either of you ever got your wisdom teeth pulled, just wondering?
Yes.
How are you after the wisdom teeth?
Probably a very similar way that Jaden Reed was after his surgery, I would say.
Samter, you a little loosey-goosey there?
Maybe it's just my history. When I wake up, I'm totally fine. I think my body's built a tolerance to this stuff.
So I was in high school when I got my wisdom teeth pulled, and I guess I was running for something on the student council board. And when I was leaving, they said to me, or no, when I came back for the checkup, like after you get the stitches out or whatever it is for the wisdom teeth, they said to me, oh, did you win your election? And I was like, how do you guys know about it? They go, oh, you were telling us all about it. My mom was driving me home from after my wisdom teeth, and I guess it was right after I got my driver's license, and I was in the passenger seat, Mom obviously in the driver's seat. And after I was a little loopy, I said, Mom, I want to drive. And that's what I was really persistent on, and obviously that did not happen. So anyway, we'll move on from there, but that's some audio from Jaden Reed. I have not heard this yet. I saw this on social media. Samter got sent the audio, and now we're going to play it for you. But based off our trip to Vegas, the Pat Boyle extravaganza decided to draft hosts or people affiliated with the network and who they would want to go to Vegas with. Somehow I was only 11th on the list with my connections in Vegas and some of the VIP treatment I get in Vegas. I would think I'd be higher up on the list. But I'm not butthurt about it. It's fine. You know, I don't want Andrew Bogish to cry about it for 17 years like the last time Marco Belletti went after him for a list. Or I don't want Pete Bellotti being a little salty over it. So I'll go into this with a clear thought process. And I just want to hear whatever 90 seconds Samter ended up pulling from this. I have not heard this yet. This was from their Vegas hangover draft last night on the Pat Boyle Show.
The Pat Boyle Show Vegas Hangover Draft. Our buddy Zach Gelb, host of the Zach Gelb Show, Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern, here on the Infinity Sports Network. He went to Vegas over the weekend. Somebody sent him there. I don't know. It was Netflix. It was Circa. The company did not send him there.
False.
Our company.
Yeah,
Right.
which I would have been stunned by.
Idiot Pat.
If that was the case.
Been here
But
for 2
Zach
seconds.
knows a lot of people. He's very connected. You know, he's got 18,000 camera roll photos of everybody that he meets.
Making
he's ready to fire
headlines.
him off at any moment.
It
Doing my
sounds
job.
like Zach doesn't need to worry himself with silly radio drafts where he is on those.
Oh,
His life
shut
seems
up,
just about
Bogish.
and career seem just about fine otherwise.
Oh,
It's
my
not silly.
God.
Yeah, I don't. What are you
Killing
you're,
the
you're
segment.
doing it. What are you talking
No,
about?
I'm just
Sil?
saying, like, again, going back to your original point
Oh,
of
he's
how
so
worse people got
sensitive.
about us
Fordham
sitting here having
sensitive guy
fun.
here.
Zach
They
was
talked
the
about it for
ring,
2
right,
segments.
Zach was the ringleader of that, as if he was insulted and felt left out.
I wasn't.
Or disrespected
I
by
was
where
ranked
he was
fifth.
picked, and yet he's the one being wooed in Vegas.
Oh, my God.
So he
How
goes.
He's
to
good.
Vegas. He goes to Vegas with Samter, and he's got some, a couple of goofy shirts on. He's talking to Dana White, and
Like
he's
your
there for
glasses.
that boxing match.
Goofy.
And so we were wondering, Pete and I. All right, Zach's in Vegas with Samter.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't want to be there with Samter. Probably would rather be with a lot of other people instead of Samter in Vegas.
Somebody doesn't know.
And so Pete and I wondered if
I'd
we
rather
had
go
a-
with Samter, being honest. But anyway, back to you.
Oh, look at Bogish. Let me tell you, it's getting uncomfortable between Bellotti and Samter. There's a lot of animosity right there. A few things. I love Bogues. I do. But if you give him a little criticism, he freaks out and he holds a grudge. He is one petty, and I mean petty SOB. I didn't have a real problem with their list of Infinity Sports Network hosts. I was ranked 5th all time. I'll take that. My only issue was that Scott Farrell wasn't on the list because Farrell's my favorite person to work here in the company. It was, no offense, Zach, It was Marco Belletti who was freaking out over that. He was the one that lost it. Now, did I stir the pot? Absolutely, I stirred the pot on that. That's my job. And let me get to Pat Boyle, who, by the way, was 0-3 in picks this week in our picks competition that I do on his show. I was 2-1. I'm going to celebrate every week that I can. So I have a 2-game lead, I believe, on one Pat Boyle. Pat, maybe host here for a year full time before you start taking shots at the company. Because there's going to be a day where the company's going to send you something. And if I'm management there and I'm hearing Pat Boyle saying, the company wouldn't send Zach there, I think that's a little disrespectful to our company. Our company sends us to a lot of places. I've been to the Final Four on our company's dime. I've been to the Super Bowl on our company's dime. Now, because of my relationship with the UFC and also with Netflix, they said, Zach, we want your show there. So they covered a majority of the trip, but the company did cover like 15 to 20% of the trip. There's some other charges that did occur that the company has already approved. And you know who should know that? Pete the Body Bellotti. He's technically my manager. And he approved my expense form. I got an alert about it this morning. So I'm good with their bits. I think it's good for the network. I think those drafts are good. We react to it. It blends shows together. But Pat's criticism and Pat's jealousy, is a little bit too much. And AB, I love AB. He's one of the consummate professionals. Don't get mad because Marco Belletti just torched your list because you put zero work into it and you put zero preparation. But I do appreciate Bogusch coming to the defense of Samter. Because, I could smack Samter around. I don't like when other people smack Samter around.
That's my point, man. Finally, someone's standing up for Samter.
Yeah, they're standing up for the little fella.
Michael Motorcycle.
Yeah. Let's get to Cardi B. She was on CBS Mornings with Gayle King. Oh, this is where she announced it? She announced she is pregnant, and the father is Stephon Diggs, my wide receiver. All right, Cardi B, go ahead.
My boyfriend, Stephon Diggs. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. How are you feeling about that? And that this will be baby number 4 for you, Cardi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Congratulations.
She has 3 kids.
Thank you. I'm actually I'm excited. I'm happy. Me and my man, we're very supportive of each other. We're in the same space in our careers, but in different,
By that, what do you mean by that same space? That you're both doing well? What do you mean?
You know what it is? That I feel like we're really great and one of the best at what we do. And me and him think the same way. Yeah, we're one of the greatest, but what's next? What we doing again? We do it again. We have to do it again all the time. It's not we're never comfortable. We just want to keep doing it. And that's just how we both are.
It's funny. I just know Cardi B from singing that song WAP. I did not know that she had 3 other kids. So they're having it's Stephon Diggs, I believe, their first child together. But that's going to be kid number 4 for Cardi B. I did not know that. And finally, we played Steve Sarkisian yesterday. We thought he farted at the podium. Well, Terrell Haddon, he cracked up after someone farted during his backswing. Okay, let me hear. Oh, my God! Play that again. Oh, that sounded wet. Oh, that sounded like Marash in the newsroom. Oh, that's disgusting. One more time, Stu. Coming up next week on the Pat Boyle Show, which Infinity Sports Network host rips the most gas? That's what they're going to do. Who passes the most gas? That's what they're going to draft next week. Samter wants to be the number 1 pick. Bellotti looks like he
I don't
want to
be the number 1 pick. I am the number 1 pick.
Bellotti, Samter. I think Stu's a silent but deadly guy.
Definitely.
Just
I don't think Hickey's ever farted.
Just ask Stu. I just unleash in this place at least 6 or 7 times a show.
Boyle, I could see being nasty, passing the gas. And Perloff wouldn't surprise me either. All righty, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll come on back. Matt Rhule's going to join us at the top of the hour at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. But when we come on back, the host with the best hair here at the Infinity Sports Network. He's Ryan Hickey, Hot Take Hickey. He joins us in his weekly spot next. Update time first. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
And it's brought to you by Advantage Gold. Championships are built on defense, and so are winning retirement portfolios. Call Advantage Gold today at 800-900-8000 and see how gold and silver can help protect and secure your retirement. Jaden Daniels' status for this weekend remains uncertain, with head coach Dan Quinn saying the Commanders' quarterback won't practice before Friday. The Vikings make it official. Carson Wentz starts with J.J. McCarthy in a walking boot and doing well. The Jets are going with Tyrod Taylor this Sunday in Tampa, with Justin Fields suffering from a concussion. Khalil Mack avoids a season-ending injury to his elbow, but he is headed to IR, so he'll miss at least the next 4 weeks. Baseball this afternoon and several games going on right now. The Cubs with an 8-4 lead over the Pirates in the bottom of the 8th in Pittsburgh. Big day for Ian Happ, a home run and 3 RBIs, his 23rd of the season, while Spencer Steer is driven in 5. The Reds in front of the Cardinals by a score of 6-2 in the bottom of the 8th. And right now, top of the 5th, Baltimore leads the White Sox by a score of 3-1. I'm Rich Ackerman.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is, play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The piping hot takes of Ryan Hot Take Hickey do not, I repeat, do not reflect the views of the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
It's Hickey at night Sunday, I'm combing our hair with moose gel and spray. The takes are so hot, 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 sometimes it's right, usually not. This best segment is coming up next, but you better watch out for the Hickey head. Hot takes and hair gel on a Sunday night. Hickey's dropping takes that probably aren't right. Dropping a teaser for what's coming up next, but you better watch out for the Hickey heads. Talking Penn State while Stu's smoking kush, but Hickey is always the number one rush. You will nicer and moist, might get more sober than Stu. We only joke of us, we like you, but I have to ask, is it true? Is your hair held together by pace and loop? Oh, Hickey's takes are coming up next, but you better watch out for the Hickey heads.
Alrighty, it's time to Ask the Pros. You, the listener, gets to ask us a question brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at INFSportsNet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag Ask the Pros. Be listening later in the show. We might answer your question. You can thank O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. We mentioned how good Stu's hair was when we were in Las Vegas. And I said, Ryan Hickey, elite hair. Evan Washburn, elite hair. Tom Pelissero, elite hair. And I wouldn't say Stu's hair is elite, but Stu's hair was looking really good when we were in Vegas, and I noticed it on the stream. I got a compliment today, which I couldn't believe. So I was doing my weekly spot on WQAM with Channing Crowder and Mark Hochman and Alejandro Salada, and they are now broadcasting on YouTube, streaming live on YouTube. And one of the commenters in the YouTube chat said, I always expected that Gelb would just be a bald guy. I didn't realize how good his hair was. Now, I don't think I have good hair. So, Ryan Hot Take Hickey, I think you have some competition around here.
Oh,
the
boy.
hair loss medication is working well for Stu and I, and all of a sudden, I think we're coming for you.
Oh, boy.
High and tight today, though. Very nice.
It's been a long time, over a month since I got a last haircut, so long overdue.
You know whose hair looks really dirty?
Dirty?
Yeah, dirty.
Who?
He looks like he could play for the Philadelphia Phillies. Anthony Gallo. I just saw him during the break. That is some dirty-looking hair. Hair that looks like it hasn't been cut in a long time.
He does have a man bun. He likes to have it long. I've not seen it down in a while. I would not say dirty. Like, I think when you say Phillies, like Brandon
Sloppy.
Marsh hair is dirty, disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Gallows at least is dry, so he has that going for him.
All right, let's see how insufferable Hickey's going to be.
Oh,
My
boy.
take yesterday was you were out on Daniel Jones. With what I've seen the first 2 weeks, as long as he stays healthy, I'm in. I don't like what I'm seeing out of the Texans offense. The new offensive coordinator, it doesn't seem like there's that much of a difference from the guy, Bobby Slowick, that they let go. They have now a running back injury. And you also, when you take a look at that, their offensive line has been abysmal. And C.J. Stroud, because of that, is regressing. 9-10 wins for the Colts. I don't think it's crazy. I now believe the Indianapolis Colts, after 2 weeks, that's my hottest take for you in the NFL. The Colts are winning the AFC South.
I'll say 2 words that we'll see.
Oh, so you're not insufferable yet?
No, it's 2 games.
Wait,
Daniel,
hold on.
like this is what
Can we
Daniel
take a 30?
Jones
Can we take a 30?
Is.
It does not take much for you to go crazy with your teams. It's ironic that you're saying after 2 games, pump the brakes, slow down a little bit. I thought you were going to be walking here with the pom-poms and you were going nuts, leading the shoe chance. That's what I thought it was going to be.
I will say, through 2 games, I've had way more fun watching this team, especially the offense, than I ever thought I would. So it's been enjoyable. I'm having fun, but we saw so much of Daniel Jones with the Giants where he's not a bad quarterback. The problem is once you start to believe he can actually be something, maybe a franchise guy, maybe lead you to playoffs, that's when just the crashes down, injuries, bad decisions. So I am waiting for the other shoe to drop. And also, as you know, listeners know, I've gotten burned so many times with this team by buying into crappy quarterbacks, whether it's Carson Wentz, whether it's Matt Ryan, whether it's Anthony Richardson, whether even for a second for Gardner Minshew, thinking he could take him to the playoffs. I am going to be very patient this year. Now, my hatred for Daniel Jones is also part of why I'm not ready to jump all in. I am taking 2025 with a grain of salt, 1 step forward. We're going to see how the other shoe drops, when it drops, and we'll go from there. They should be in a great spot to win the division. You're not wrong, I think, in saying that they could or will win it. I'm going to pump the brakes.
We were both, and we haven't bought into them for a while, but we both bought into Clemson heading into this season. So this is not just me going after you. It's also going after me. I forgot how much I found Dabo Swinney to just be insufferable. It's almost as if when people – I don't think a lot of people are legitimately calling for him to be fired. But to Dabo's credit, he created a standard at Clemson. He's done things there that have been unimaginable for the Clemson standard, and now the standard is winning national championships. So don't sit there and tell me how many ACC championships you won. In the last 4 years since 2021, this has been my point with them. They've lost their way, and they've only won the ACC twice in the last 4 years. Florida State had that year. Pitt had that year. It looks like it may not be their year once again this season. And since 2021, they've been to the college football playoff twice, and they've lost both times in the college football playoff. So it's like, I'm looking at it. It's been a long time since they've been a national championship contender.
It has been. Yeah, I think it was only once, too, if I'm not mistaken.
No, twice.
Playoff. What was the other time?
Ohio State and then last year.
Right, Ohio State was 2020. So it's been since Trevor Lawrence left.
Now I got to look this up because I did.
Yeah, they haven't made it. Last year's the first year they made it since Trevor Lawrence left, which only highlights your point even more about their struggles.
Let me just look here.
Yeah, you can look it up. But like,
did I mess this up on my Sports Minute today?
Uh-oh.
The Cheez-It Bowl was in 2021.
Yeah, they didn't make the playoffs since
2022. They lost the Orange Bowl to Tennessee.
Not a playoff game.
Oh, my God. Did Hickey get this right? Oh, my God. Goodness gracious. We got to edit that Sports Minute. I got to go edit that Sports Minute. You know what it was? I think I clicked 2020, and that's what it was.
And that's
but anyway, the point still stands.
And like they're 3-5 against their last.
That's the first time you got me in a
opponents.
while. Usually, like you're adamant with things, you end up being wrong. Good for you there, Hickey.
Thank you. Once in a while, we get some things right. But I
it was
agree.
The second minute, so I got some time to fix it.
Dabo lives in the past, which is why the present and the future do not look bright at all, and why they keep losing games they shouldn't.
Alrighty. I know you the way I know you. I think there's one game this weekend that nationally may not get a lot of play, but I think you're going to be thrilled to watch it. 12 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, Texas Tech and Utah. That, to me, seems like a Ryan Hickey football fandom game.
I'm very excited. That's a great game. Look, it's 2 good teams in the Big 12. I think Utah is very slept on after the Cam Rising saga for years, believing in him. He gets hurt. Devin Dampierre is a good quarterback. I'm very excited. Very excited.
Auburn, Oklahoma. I've been very critical of Hugh Freeze. He's been golfing a lot, but he's also been winning a lot this year. They are 3-0. Oklahoma, that's the craziest spread I've ever seen. I'm a Temple grad. I'll never bet against my alma mater. But how Temple was only a 23.5-point dog last week, that never made sense. I thought that spread should have been 35 or 36. John Mateer, though, had the big win up against Michigan 2 weeks ago. Auburn, Oklahoma. Where do you lean on that one as you go to Norman?
I like Oklahoma. I still don't trust, even with how well they played early on. It's been, for the most part, outside of Baylor the first game, lesser competition. I still don't trust Jackson all completely. I'm all in on John Mateer. That defense looks good. The offense is rolling. I like Oklahoma.
When you say all in on John Mateer, SEC, Arch Manning's struggling.
Yep.
Georgia, huge win last week, coming from behind, beating Tennessee.
Gotcha.
Alabama, huge game next week, up against Georgia. When you look at the SEC, LSU, right, they have a defense now. Offensively, Nussmeier not 100%, but he'll get things going. I had no issue with how Brian Kelly handled that after the game. Who's your team?
Really?
Yeah, well, here's why. I've been in those press
That's
conferences.
shocking.
And I'm not a huge Brian Kelly fan. I've been in those. He won the game. The first 2-3 questions can't be critical. Like, you could get to it eventually. This guy has been criticized for the last 3 years. I've been the one leading the charge. I get it. He now has a team that's undefeated, and they're off to a good start this season. It's almost like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You give them a little credit.
They deserve credit. If this was the Clemson game, I'd agree with you. This is Florida at home. A reeling Florida team that came off a loss to South. This is a team that you honestly should have beat by 40.
How many excuses do you make when Penn State doesn't play well?
I'm just saying. No, I'm just being realistic. When an offense scores 13 points and DJ Lago gives you turnover after turnover after turnover, you don't do anything with them. I don't think it's crazy to say, what's going on the offense, Brian?
Well, the offense needs to be better.
Better.
My point was the question had to be asked. It just didn't need to be the first question in the press conference. Who do you like, though, to win the SEC this year?
I will go with Georgia.
Okay.
That's a team that's still not flash. They're not flashy like they were dominant, let's say, 2, 3, 4 years ago. But that Tennessee win shows you what you need to know. Kirby Smart, when you give this team a chance, they're going to take it.
I can't lose on Saturday. I like Michigan. I love Matt Rhule. Matt Rhule's going to join us coming up at the top of the hour. We got Michigan and Nebraska. I know you are the biggest Michigan hater on the planet. That didn't go to Ohio State. Michigan and Nebraska. Is this Nebraska's moment where they could start to feel like they're back if they beat Michigan?
I'll say this. It should be. I'm picking them to win. I don't like the fact that Sherrone Moore's taking this game as the one that he's serving suspension on. So I think that will help. It should help Nebraska. I'll say this. They have way more on the line. They need this game way more than Michigan does. That's for damn sure. If you can't win this game without Sherrone Moore, if you're Nebraska, all that buy-in, all that love that they've gotten over the last few years goes out the window.
Florida, Miami. Miami wins by how many points? It's only a 7.5-point spread. That seems a little low here.
I would agree, especially after how well Miami played last week in not a trap game per se, but still a team that came in with a lot of confidence in South Florida. I will say they win by 17. A lot of state pride in here. Florida plays hard for a little bit, and I think kind of with LSU a little bit, kind of you see it towards the end, they start to pull away.
And then Illinois, Indiana.
I like Illinois. That's you talk about the underrated other game that maybe should have more attention than it should. I am very, very excited for that. Illinois on the road gets the win.
And then the early prediction. Dan Lanning confirmed going to join us next week. You got the Ducks. You got the Nittany Lions. That game is in Happy Valley, correct, Amundo?
Whiteout.
Who do you got? Oh, man. Penn State losing a whiteout would be glorious.
Right now, I'm taking Penn State. I will say my optimism where it was in the preseason versus where it is now 10 days out
Can I just give you a little advice?
Is definitely less.
You want Penn State to win, right?
Yes.
Pick Oregon.
The reverse mush is not a real thing. I pick Oregon. Oregon's going to win the game. Then it's a lose-lose.
Then you're right.
I don't want to be right. I want to be right at picking Penn State, and Penn State wins the game. That's what I want to be right about.
The head football coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers, huge game this weekend at home up against Michigan. He's Matt Rhule. He'll join us next. That's Ryan Hot Take Hickey. I am Zach Gelb. You're listening to the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, hour number 2 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. A huge weekend of college football upcoming. And Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, that is going to be a scene in Lincoln, Nebraska, as Nebraska is trying to get a huge victory. They'll be going up against Michigan, who's ranked 21st in the country. And now joining us is a third-year head football coach at Nebraska. He is now a very successful podcaster as well with House Rules, and that is a friend to the program in Matt Rhule. Coach, great to have you on. Appreciate the time. How you been?
Yeah, that's great, man. It's great to see you.
Well, I got to ask you. So I'm watching your game in the sports book as you guys had a blowout victory. And then I see you standing right next to Bud Crawford in Vegas like hours later after he got that victory. I know how important he is to your program and the state. But take us through after the game Saturday, get into Vegas, and then watching the Crawford-Canelo fight.
Yeah. Bud Crawford is the ultimate Husker. You know, I mean, he's loyal to the state, loyal to Omaha, and loyal to the Huskers. And so we wanted to be there for him. So the hardest part, bro, was like getting dressed. got done with the media, ran upstairs, trying to put on a sport coat. You know, Julie's like, no, not that one. No. So I was like, okay, you know, I'm scrambling, but we ran. We have a Husker jet. Got there. Julie and I met Troy Dan and our elite AD and his wife Amy, and four of us went out there and watched Bud do what many thought was unthinkable, but we knew was inevitable, and really happy for him.
Yeah, it's funny, being in Vegas the whole week, everyone was like, Canelo's going to win, Canelo's going to win, Canelo's going to win. And I just said to myself, I keep on hearing Canelo's going to win, and I don't really know much about it. I'm just going to take Crawford because everyone's telling me Canelo's going to win, and these are two of the all-time greats going up against it. What can your football team, I know how much pride they had in what he was able to do, but what can your football team learn from a moment like that, even though it's not a football game being played, it was a legendary boxing match?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is before the fight, I talked a lot about the fact that he wasn't doing it for money. He wasn't doing it because he had to. In many ways, he's a first ballot Hall of Fame fighter, and he's pound for pound king. Yet he was going up in weight because he wanted the challenge. He wanted to see if he could be the first guy to be unified champion in 3 different weight divisions. And so I think that's a pretty cool thing in a world where like we spend a lot of time talking about what people did wrong, or if he lost that, all of a sudden is people coming after his legacy. He didn't care. I mean, he wanted to do something that no one else did. And so I talked a lot about taking on challenges. And then after the fight, the next day on Sunday, I got back, we had a team meeting. I showed the weigh-in. I showed the press conference. And he wasn't talking about if I do this. He talked a lot about when I do this and when I win this fight. And what's cool about Bud, at the end, you saw him bring back Canelo's belts. You saw him, playing with his daughter. He has so much respect for him. You know how much Canelo would respect for them. But only one guy can win, and it was the right guy for us.
Matt Rhule here with us. I love the speech that you gave to your team at halftime of the Akron game. I have to ask, what was the speech like at halftime during Houston Christian? Did you have that same energy at halftime, or did you kind of tone it down last week?
No, you know how it is. And if you have the same energy all the time, they just kind of, guys, you just shut it off, right? I think every game, every moment's different, right? I mean, you can be getting blown out and be calm. You can be getting blown out and lose it. I mean, you just don't want to be animated. You don't want to be inauthentic. You want to talk about how you feel. I felt that way at Akron. And, but then it was out there and people saw it. A lot of people said to me, like, I didn't know you had that in you. I said, go call Zach Gelb. He'll tell you what I was like at Temple. I mean, that's how we built Temple, was with those types of days. But, we came in at halftime, and I very simply said, because we played really well against Houston Christian, and right before the half, they moved the ball again, and then we were in 2 minutes, and we didn't go down and score. And I knew I was going to take the starters out. Big Ten was started this week. We were up, 38-0. And I just simply said, hey, was that good enough at the end? And the guys were all like, no. And so I walked back in, let the coaches talk. And then when I brought them all up, I said, man, don't ever lose what you guys have right now. When you have unbelievably high standards and you're not sensitive, when you yourself can say, hey, I know I'm doing what everyone thinks is right, but it's just not enough. I want to do more. That kind of culture, and the word culture is hard to say sometimes, but that kind of culture, but more importantly, that kind of mindset, that's what makes the great ones great. That's what makes Crawford. That's what makes, hopefully, our football team a special place. And so I challenged them to keep that going in the second half. They did score a touchdown, which we were disappointed in, but our guys showed up in the second half. I was proud.
Being to a game at Lincoln, your fan base deserves a winner again. Last year, I understand, so important to get back to a bowl game and get that victory. I still looked at the Colorado game as an enormous performance for you early last year. It was to show the growth from one year to the next, and you guys came out of the gate swinging. We talk about if, we talk about when. Why will this group, when you guys play Michigan Saturday afternoon, why will you guys be ready right out of the gate to try to go on out there and get a victory?
Well, this is why you came to the University of Nebraska. Right? You didn't come here to score 69 points against Akron. You didn't come here to play Houston Christian. You came here to play ranked teams at home. You came here to play the Big Ten slate. The last two national champions have come from this conference. And so we're proud to be a Big Ten member. And so this is why you came. You came to play. When we came here a couple of years ago, obviously the program was down. We said, hey, we want to bring excitement back here. We want people to talk 20 years from now about the moments that they had in Memorial Stadium. I want a student section that loves their team and loves the experience. And so you're right. Colorado last year was an epic moment. I think in some ways I did a poor job. We didn't move on quickly enough from that. And, we played poorly the next week against UNI, and then we lost to Illinois 2 weeks later. So we don't want to put too much into any one game. We want to come out every single week, and we want to be the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And you know what that means, and I know what that's supposed to mean. We're going to celebrate the 95 team. Like we know what that's supposed to mean. I mean, we know what they meant. And so we're supposed to play football on a high level. A great team's coming in. This is why you came to Nebraska. I'm excited for it.
I love your quarterback in Dylan Rhule. He had some ups and downs last year, but I thought it was a very successful freshman season. How have you seen him grown from year one to now the early stages of year two?
Yeah, I mean, he's first or second in completion percentage. He's protected the football. We're a pro style offense. We get under center, we get in the gun, we throw a drop back, we throw play action. I mean, he's unbelievably accurate. In the mid range, he's not just throwing the ball over people's heads and checking the ball down. I mean, he's attacking every part of the field. And what I love Zach is, the ball's going to everybody. It's not like, hey, we have one guy with way more catches. The first game I think we completed the ball to 10 different guys against Cincinnati. I think it was 5 guys had 5 catches. Week 2, I think 14 guys had a catch. Now TJ Lateef, our sensational freshman quarterback, came in and played well as well. But Dylan's doing a great job to me of taking what the defense gives him, getting the ball where it needs to be, getting in the right checks. He's playing pro football at the college level in terms of the things we're asking him to do. To credit to Dana Holverson, our coordinator, he's done a fantastic job, and I think Dylan's really clicking with them.
There was so much hype going into year one last year with Dylan Rhule. And then going into this year, there was a point at the summer where I said, now I feel like Dylan Rhule is underrated and people aren't talking about him enough. That's just the national perspective of it. Do you feel like your quarterback at times this offseason was a little bit disrespected?
I don't disrespect it. I just think he's been, I don't think people have appreciated enough the level of football that he's playing at. And, we lost. We were 5-1. We lost 4 games, but we weren't losing because of him. We weren't losing because of anyone. We just were that kind of a football team last year. And Dylan came here, along with Ja'Cory Barney, along with Vincent Shavers, along with all these great young players that we have, to help us build something. They didn't come to just join an already built roster. That's what a lot of kids want to do now in recruiting. Well, I'm going to go to the best place and be amongst. They want to come build it, and so there's steps to it. So yeah, I think people have just kind of maybe moved past that or ignored it, haven't seen it as much. But he's doing an unbelievable job. And what I'm excited about, and the thing that I've been saying, Zach, is early on last year, he made the wow plays, rolling left, throwing back right across his body. And those plays, they get you on TV, they get you on SportsCenter, they get you on your show, they get you on Instagram. You get and that's fun. But that's not what Tom Brady plays like. That's not what the best play like all the time. They play like that when they have to, but they are going to be methodical killers as quarterbacks. And so I think what I love about what Dylan's doing now is he's playing quarterback at a really high level. And it's like anything else. Eventually people will see it. We have an opportunity this Saturday to play on national TV. And instead of worrying about what everyone else thinks, we just got to go play well, and eventually everyone will know what we know.
And on the other side, Michigan, right? Bryce Underwood, a lot of expectations with him. You guys were in that spot last year when you get a player like that to come to your university. When you've been watching him on tape, what stands out to you so far from Bryce Underwood?
Well, the first 2 games, really a commitment to being a pocket passer, being a pro-style quarterback, big arm, accurate, smart. You just see the total package. Last game, added the element of running with the football, was their leading rusher. If things broke down, if they played man, if he saw a lane, he took off. And, I think that's an added dimension that we now have to deal with. We were preparing for that pro-style pocket quarterback, and now, oh, wow, he's got this other element. We knew he had it, but now they're utilizing it too. So you have to defend him, both his arm and his legs. And so credit to them for playing a freshman. We did it last year. As you know, I did it at Temple and I did it at Baylor. And, that first year, everyone's kind of like, there'd be some ups, there could be some downs, at least for us. I'm not saying that for Michigan, but for us. But the experience is invaluable. And, the guys, they grow. You just have to make sure that, they stay with it mentally. They don't get too beaten up as they go through the process physically or mentally. And Dylan came through it last year. I'm proud of where he is. And their young man's doing a wonderful job.
Getting back to your team, Coach Matt Rhule here with us for a few more minutes. You got a big game this weekend. Michigan going up against Nebraska. Going to be some scene in Lincoln. I know Dana Holgorsen really put his fingerprints on this program towards the end of last season. You had a defensive coordinating position. I like Tony White, but John Butler was on your staff, takes over. Coach White now with Florida State. Having two coordinators be new to start the season, from start to finish, that's obviously the goal. Just where's the comfortability level right now with the offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator? Because it's looking pretty promising so far.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, bro. The results, the outcomes come. I love the way the guys do things. I love their work ethic. I love their process. To give you an idea of who Dana Holgorsen is, the previous coordinator, Marcus Satterfield, a great football coach, stayed on the staff. And Dana could have said, no, I don't want this guy. I want this guy. He brought in one guy with him. That was it. I mean, he worked with our staff at the end of last year, and he said to me, these guys are really good football coaches. He's so confident. He's so great to work with it. We kept Glenn Thomas the quarterback coach because he's an elite quarterback coach. We kept Donnie Rhule. We kept Stat. We kept E.J. Barfield. We kept all these guys because he's bought into that concept. So I love working with Dana. He's done so much for me as a head coach, because I have someone else I can go to and say like, hey, what about traveling to the West Coast? What about going to the East Coast? What about night game? And then John Butler's just an absolutely brilliant guy. He's been a coordinator before at Penn State, 10 years in the NFL at a really, really high level. Was with us for a year, had a chance to see him in the bowl game, and I love the way he did things. And so I'm almost sometimes a little bored, like they don't need me. I'm in my office planning schedules and kind of like, does anybody want to talk to me? But I think the thing I've learned in my life is surround yourself with great, great, great people, and really our entire staff is, but certainly those two coordinators are.
Sometimes the transfer portal, you'll get a star. Other times you get burned by the transfer portal. It's just the game that we live in right now. Like, look at Florida State the last 2 seasons. Some years it works, some years it doesn't. Dane Key, though, man, this guy seems like a coach's dream with everything he's been doing so far for you guys.
Yeah, I mentioned that Dana brought in one person. He brought in Nikhil Shorts, a receiver coach who had been his player. Was a receiver coach for him in Houston. And he went to Kentucky, and he was with Dane. So when Dane went in the portal, he had everybody. He had SEC teams, he had Big Ten teams, AC. Everyone wanted Dane Key. And credit to him, he came out here. He saw what we have here. We have the most amazing facilities in college football. He met with Dylan and saw, hey, this guy's for real. Met with Coach Holgorsen and saw the plan. And he has a great relationship with people. And I want guys. I want guys to get paid. I want them to have revenue share. I want them to have NIL. But what I really want is I want guys who want to be great in the NFL. I want guys who want to win, who want to take their game to the next level. And so when Dane came here and he wanted to talk about strength, and when he talked about nutrition, sports science, and all those things, I knew we had the right guy. And we've had some players that left us last year. The young man who caught the touchdown for A&M the other night, he played for us the last 3 years. There's a walk-on here who moved himself up. So, as you said, the portal giveth and the portal taketh away. But we love our roster. We love the guys that are here. And when guys are here and they leave to go somewhere else, we root for them. We're proud of them. But getting Dane was big. Getting Isaiah Hunter as the other receiver on the outside, big. You put those guys in there with Ja'Cory Barney, a freshman slot from last year who's now a sophomore, and we have some guys who can go. And so it's been a lot of fun watching us become sort of an explosive passing game.
I remember the tough times, 2 wins at Temple, 1 win at Baylor, and you guys have always stayed true to your process. At Temple, it worked. At Baylor, it worked. Now this is year number 3. You guys had a good season last year. People now expect you to take that next step this year. Saturday is a huge task and a big test. Are you as confident as ever that this is going to work with Nebraska, with what you've seen the last years, and then also the start to year number 3?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I've always said it's not if, it's just when. Football's different than it was the last couple of years. I've never said, hey, year 3, we're definitely going to do this. The portal, as I said, the portal's different. College football's different. So, and the Big Ten's evolving. The old Big Ten West that Nebraska was in before that they couldn't win, but within it is a lot different than going to Oregon and going to Penn State and going to USC. It's a whole different animal. So it's not that I can sit here and make predictions, but this is a place that's supposed to win. It's got the best facilities. It's got the best fan base. We can recruit here. There was kind of this idea like, hey, you can't recruit here. We can recruit here. And as they've made a commitment to NIL for us, and now as revenue sharing's there, we've sold out, I think 405. I'm going to get myself in trouble here. 405 straight games. Our fan base is going to show up. There were 17,000 people at the Nebraska Creighton volleyball game last night. This is a place that loves sports. This is like being at Temple. And this is like the passion that I felt in Philly, just out here in Lincoln, Nebraska, which is a great place to live. And so, I just couldn't tell you. I believe so much in what we're doing right now, but what we're also about to do, we're recruiting some of the best players in the country, not the best recruits. I'm not looking for the best recruits, Zach. I want guys who want to come play football, not just get paid, not just be on the cover of Instagram and all that stuff. I love that stuff. You can do all that stuff, but I need guys like Dylan, like Ja'Cory, like Dane. I need guys who love football, and you find that here at Nebraska.
Two more just quick questions, and I'll let you run. Just from a coaching standpoint, I don't know if it makes a difference, right? And it's not to diminish anything about Sharon Moore, but, I saw Jim Harbaugh be suspended and Sharon Moore take over. Michigan still won all those games. Coming up on Saturday, Biff Poggi's on the sideline, Sharon Moore suspended. Does that change anything for you since it's not Sharon on the sideline and then it's Biff standing there?
Well, I feel like as a head coach, most of my work in building the team was done in the off season, was done in fall camp. Certainly, I like to feel like I make a difference during the course of the week. Certainly, I feel like I make a difference at practice and all those things. But one of the things I tell our guys all the time is like, hey guys, if I didn't show up today for practice, would you guys still have a great practice? And they would say, yeah. Like making them understand that everyone's role is important, but no one can't be done without. Someone will always step in. And so I have a lot of respect for Sharon Moore. Anytime you have an O-line coach as the head coach, I'm going to get fired up. And Biff came to Charlotte when I was in Carolina, just kind of as I was getting fired. And I guess I thought I get fired times, right around then. But he's someone that I've known and respect. And so he'll have those guys ready to play. Those guys, they'll love him, and they'll love all their assistant coaches. So I think it'll just come down to the players on the field playing football at a really high level on both sides.
And then last thing, I know you were with Baker Mayfield briefly in Carolina. He was counted out, and what he's turned into now, he could be the 7th or 8th best quarterback in football, if not higher than that. A lot of people have been praising Baker this week. Just give me your reaction and your take on what he's been able to do with Tampa Bay, because the last few years it's been really special.
I love Baker Mayfield. He's a winner. He's tough. I wish I could have done a better job for him during my time in Carolina. I wish I could have put him in a better position there as the head coach. But even what he did in Carolina, we wanted to trade for him at the draft. We weren't able to do it. We didn't sign him until I think he wasn't in OTAs. He wasn't in mandatory minicamp. You know how hard that is to do in modern college and modern pro football? He showed up the first day of training camp. That doesn't happen anymore. But to his credit, we got down that first game against Cleveland, and he brought us all the way back. I remember him running for a touchdown and throwing the ball against the back line, how much he wanted to beat Cleveland. And they came down, and Jacoby Brissett, he spiked the ball, and they called whatever legal forward pass because he kind of looked like pump fake. They overturned that guy, and it's a 59-yard field goal. Things didn't go our way, but I'll never minimize the toughness, the competitiveness, the mindset of Baker Mayfield. And I remember when I get fired, you're on the news cycle. You still got to eat. You still got to go out, get your kids to school. And my wife is in a sandwich shop trying to get something. Baker walks in, sees Julie, walks up, gives her he's just an elite human. He's a competitor. He's a lot, I think about Bud Crawford. Bud will say, I've been an underdog my whole life. This guy walked on, and now he's at a place, he went to the Rams that year, and he won the first game with the Rams. This guy's just a winner, dude. And so, like I said, I wish I could have done better for him, but I call him a friend. I respect the heck out of him. And he's down there in a place that fits him, and he's doing a great job. I love when he slid the other day and kind of limped, and all of a sudden the guy Chauncey started talking trash to him. He's right up in his face. And I love what he said about, finding the things that matter to him in his life, his marriage, his family, his faith, becoming grounded in those things. I'm really happy and proud of him.
Is the champ going to be in the building, by the way, on Saturday? You guys going to have Bud Crawford there?
You know what? I felt bad after the fight when I saw him. I was like, bro, I need you next week. And I'm like, dang, he just made history. He's got me asking like a typical football.
What a world.
But he's got an open invite here. He's not like I'll show. He's a Husker fan. I went to his send off, and all we did was talk about the Cincinnati game the night before, which was, he was like, man, that was a little too close for me, coach. I was like, me too. So I whether he's here this weekend or not, I know he's a lot of people, a lot of opportunities, probably people pulling at him, but there's no one that loves him more than the Huskers, and our fans will go nuts if he is, and if not, whenever he's ready. Terrence, whenever you're ready, man, we got an open door for you.
Coach, good luck this upcoming weekend. Really appreciate the time today. I know I got a trip coming up, I think at the end of October. So I'm going to go get myself a run to see some Nebraska football. And I need a reservation at Casa Bovina, by the way, again.
I got you. Casa Bovina. They call this the good life for a reason. I got you. There's no place like Nebraska.
You got it. There he is, Matt Rhule, the head football coach at Nebraska, joining us right there on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll take a break. We'll come on back when we do return. Want to get to Texas and their AP poll ranking. Got a few things to say about that.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
You know, after the embarrassment that was the AP poll last week, with the one writer who moved Florida up 2 spots after USF beat Florida, and they didn't have USF in the top 25, I'm going to just be transparent. When the AP poll came out on Sunday, I didn't give 2 bleeps about it. I didn't read it on Monday. I didn't read it on Tuesday. And for some reason this morning, it came up on my timeline. And I'm looking through it. I'm like, okay, Ohio State's 1, Penn State's 2, LSU's 3, Miami's 4th, Georgia's 5, Oregon's 6, Florida State is 7th. And then I see Texas is 8th. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so Texas lost to the number 1 team in the country. All we've heard is Arch Manning since then, who was not good in that game, was okay up against San Jose State and was dreadful up against UTEP. They only beat UTEP 27-10. How the heck is Texas the 8th-ranked team in the AP poll? Now, I know the answer to it. It's just because of their brand. It's just because of their name. Illinois, I'm not telling you they're going to be better than Texas at the end of the season. They're 3-0. They should be in front of Texas. Texas A&M just went to Notre Dame, and they beat Notre Dame. How are they not in front of Texas? Oklahoma's 3-0. Iowa State is 4-0. How do you not have those teams, just for starters, in front of Texas? I just don't get it. And I get it, but I don't get it. But I get it, but I don't get it. And it's just because of the brand recognition. And you know what's wild? Georgia Tech, 18th? How are the Yellow Jackets not higher than 18th? So there's a lot of things in the top 25 where I'm just going to be transparent, folks. The AP top 25 poll is like gum on my shoe. It's there. It's obnoxious. I'll walk all over it. It's really obnoxious. Trying to get gum off your shoe is miserable. Absolutely miserable. But you got to pay attention to it. Notre Dame, Stu. Notre Dame is 24th. They lost to Miami, and then they lost to A&M. Now, South Florida, can I just for argument's sake here, South Florida, they did just lose to Miami. But before that, they beat Boise State, who at the time was a top 25 team, and then they beat Florida, who at the time I think was ranked like 13th. How South Florida's out of the top 25 after one loss? I don't understand Notre Dame being, and once again, it's because of brand. It's all about brand. So there's so many inconsistencies with the top 25. It's such a joke, the AP poll top 25. And I know, right, there's a lot of great writers that cover college football, but writers are super duper sensitive. You sit there, you trash the AP top 25, you'd be like, oh, well, it's not always going to be perfect, blah, blah, blah. But how the heck is Texas still 8th? How the heck is Notre Dame still in the top 25? It's laughable at this point. It is pathetic at this point. When was the last time, by the way, that you guys stepped in gum? You guys remember stepping in? I walk a lot. Like last night I went to the Met game, got back to Penn Station. I said, coming to the end of probably good weather. I walked home from Penn Station to my apartment in Financial District at night. I did not step in gum. But do you guys remember the last time that you stepped in gum? Does it ring a bell?
It doesn't, but it probably has been in the last year or two, I would say.
Samter, you remember the last time you stepped in some gum?
No, not stepping in gum, but having a dog, I step in poop a lot. A lot of poops.
You know what? Should I tell? Yeah, I'll tell this story. 3 years ago, I had a great date. Went back to the date's apartment. After I was in the apartment, right, just sitting there, not doing anything, I left. And was in a good mood, right? Walk right out of the apartment, and I stepped in something. And I'm like, what the F did I step in? It was dog poop. Ugh. Gum, horrible to step in because it actually, would you rather step in gum or poop?
Gum.
I actually think poop.
Really?
Now,
Poop is
poop
easier
is
to
more
clean.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's more disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, you got to touch the bottom of the shoe either way. I'd rather touch gum than touch poop, obviously. But the gum gets stuck in that shoe where the poop, you could kind of just, like, hose off your shoe and you'll end up being fine. Hey, Ak, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You just walked into this. Would you rather step in gum or poop?
Gum.
Really?
Yeah.
But it's easier to get the poop off the shoe than the gum off the shoe.
You can get gum off.
But how do you get gum off the shoe? Ice cube? That's what I was told. It was told me online.
You know?
Isn't peanut butter used to get? That's gum out of your hair, right?
I don't know.
Gum in your hair is the worst.
I've never got gum in my hair.
Basically, there's nothing you could do. You just have to cut your hair.
Hey, we are on TikTok now. Should we do a TikTok challenge at the expense of Santa? We just put gum in your hair and see how long it takes to get the gum out. You good with that?
No.
Fraud reports.
What you
When
sent
you
me,
choose
by the way.
HSS, you're receiving
What
the
Maggie
best
and Perloff
orthopedic
did
care you can get.
is
From
so unacceptable.
diagnosis and treatment to physical therapy
They-
and recovery.
they stuffed him in a
HSS
box and kicked
physicians
him
care
over.
for over 30
It was safe during the
professional
box.
sports teams, colleges, and
So that was the box.
organizations.
How did that come about?
So
Whether you're a
I'm sure you've
professional
seen
athlete
around
or a
here,
weekend
WFAN
warrior,
has a
when it comes to
life-size doll
orthopedics, choose
that they put all
HSS.
over the place. And
You
it's
know,
like,
I saw that. I
Across
go,
the
that
tri-state.
looks like a sex
Choose better.
yeah. It's just basically like a big life-size doll that kind of looks like BT, Brandon Tierney.
No, I think it's Craig Carden.
It looks like
Yeah.
Carden, looks like Brandon,
Imagine
looks
a
like
world
Sal, just
where
a
all
bald
your smart
guy.
devices work
And they put it
together
all over the place,
seamlessly
and they've
in
done
one
videos
simple
with it, and
ecosystem.
they, whatever.
Introducing
And
the Slomin's
that was the box
Shield
that it
Link.
came
With
in.
Slomin's
And
Shield
walking
Link,
by
transform your
from a
home
meeting
into
one
a
day
truly
with
intelligent
Spike,
smart home experience.
Perloff said, I wonder
Control
if you
your
can fit in
lights,
that box.
heating and cooling,
And so we
door
tried
locks,
it.
cameras,
Half your body was in
TVs,
it.
just about
Yeah, and I
anything
tried
in
to
your
get my
home.
full body
Life
in
is
it until
busy, and daily
either
stresses
Maggie or
add up.
Perloff.
But
I
with
don't remember.
Slomin's
Someone
Shield
kicked
Link,
me
your
over.
home
Maggie
and
has
knocked
big
me-
feet, so maybe it was like, did you go flying?
Convenient, safe,
I mean, you saw the
and
video. I went
enjoyable.
rolling down
Pull into
the
your
down the
driveway.
ramp.
I don't think
One
Maggie
tap,
would kick
your
you,
home
though. It was
welcomes
probably
you.
Perloff.
Lights on,
He's a
doors
princess.
unlocked, only
You know,
to hear your favorite
as I remember
music.
back, I think
a
it
true
was
smart
Maggie.
home isn't just about gadgets.
I have to watch
It's
the video,
about
the full
comfort
video
and
again, but I'm
security.
Could've
pretty
been a
sure
good
it's
HR
Maggie.
Shield, enjoy
violation.
a full integration of home security
Is it
and
past the statute
automation,
of
all
limitations there,
at your
Spencer?
fingertips. Make your life easier and your home
I think
a
at this
safer
point it
haven.
is.
Learn more at
I think at this point.
And by the way, we were
or
talking about
call
Texas, who's 8th in the
1-800
AP poll, and how silly it is. Who's a team that got off to a bad start this year that has something to prove in college football still? 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. I'm going Alabama. That's my answer. I'm taking Alabama. They had that terrible week 1 loss to Florida State. I know last weekend they smothered Wisconsin. What a disaster, by the way, Luke Fickell has been. He was in the college football playoff at Cincinnati, for crying out loud. And he has been a disaster. That guy was supposed to be such a safe hire, good coach. He has been a disaster, with the Badgers of Wisconsin. But I look at Alabama. It's weird. Their season's on the line. They're off this week. So is Georgia. Their season's on the line next week because if they lose to Georgia, it's going to be tough to really hype up the Alabama bandwagon. But even if they win, I almost think it's an exhale spot. I don't think it's a moment of celebration. It's just, okay, we could breathe now a little bit. We can't breathe too much because last year they did that, and then they lost to Vanderbilt the following week. So because they beat Georgia last year and then they weren't able to capitalize on it, I don't think then everyone goes all back in Alabama. But that's a game that is a must-win. That's a must-win for Kalen DeBoer. That's a must-win for Ty Simpson next week. But Alabama's still a team that they have something to prove. They need to overcome that disastrous week 1 loss to Florida State and still find a way to make the college football playoffs. Stu, who's your team that's off to a bad start this season in college football that still has something to prove to you?
Well, like you mentioned, Texas being a team that shouldn't be ranked as high as they are, and then you brought up Notre Dame being 24th. I'm going to go with them because obviously they lost to 2 really good teams, a team that is a top 5 team and another team that is a top 10 team in the country. But you're 0-2, and this is a team that started the season top 10. They got to the national title game last year. There are expectations to get to the playoffs. Obviously, they're going to have to win 10 in a row to get there. And even if they do that, nothing is guaranteed. But obviously Notre Dame has a lot to prove, especially on the defensive side of the ball going forward.
Yeah, I know that it's a new criteria for the College Football Playoff Committee where you have to value strength of schedule. If Notre Dame wins out, I know they don't have the toughest schedule. I'd be shocked if a 2-loss Notre Dame team doesn't get in the College Football Playoff. So there's still a road. It looks bleak right now, but there still is a road. There's still a way. Samter, who's your team?
I'm going to go with your best friend, Dabo Swinney, and the Clemson Tigers. I mean, that's a team that Cade Klubnik was in the running for the number 1 overall pick. He was in the running for the Heisman. They were a playoff team that won the ACC championship game last year. And the expectations were this is a team that was going to roll through the ACC, and they were going to get to the playoffs again and contend for a national title. They look terrible. And like similar to the way DJ Uiagalelei failed at Clemson.
Good job. DJ Uiagalelei.
Nice.
That's a few years.
Where that offense just looked inept with him under center.
Looks similar now.
It looks the same. High expectations for a quarterback with tons of potential and talent, and they just cannot get off the ground. There's something going on with that offense.
It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. It is a Wednesday. When we come on back, it's a Take 5 Wednesday. I'll give you my top 5 teams in college football and the NFL. Update time first. Here he is, the Ackman, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
And it's brought to you by Progressive Commercial Insurance, who protects small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. The Commanders could be without quarterback Jaden Daniels in Week 3. He did not practice today, nor will he tomorrow as he rehabs his sprained knee. The Jets have already ruled out Justin Fields for Sunday in Tampa. Tyrod Taylor will start with Fields in concussion protocol. Brock Purdy has a chance to play this weekend. He was limited in practice after sitting out last week with a toe and injured left shoulder. The Chargers' Khalil Mack is sidelined with an elbow injury. The good news is it is not a season-ending injury, but he will miss 4 games going to IR. Baseball today, several afternoon games, and the Cubs have clinched a playoff berth with their 8-4 win over the Pirates. Ian Happ homered in that game, while the Reds defeated the Cardinals 6-2. Spencer Steer homered and drove in 5. The Braves and Nationals are underway in scoreless top of the 3rd. No score in the top of the 4th between the Giants and Diamondbacks, while the Orioles lead the White Sox 3-1 in the top of the 9th. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Hey, like us on Facebook. Our handle is INF Sportsnet. That's INF Sportsnet for our Facebook page. This is the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. This Thursday night football preview is sponsored by Square. More than 4 million neighborhood businesses run on Square. To learn more, go to square.com or just stop by your favorite local business. See you in the neighborhood, Square. And this week, coming up tomorrow, the Dolphins travel to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Both teams have had polar opposite starts to the season. Miami is 0-2. And they have the second worst point differential at negative 31. And the Bills are 2-0 with a point differential of plus 21. Let's get to a little Take 5 Wednesday right here on the Zach Gelb Show.
As the dust settles from last week's games, it's time to look at which teams are rising and which are falling.
And there's an interception.
Zach ranks his top 5 NFL and college football teams on this week's edition of Take 5, only on the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, let's get to a little Take 5 Wednesday action right now on the Zach Gelb Show. Stu, I start you off. NFL or college football? That is the question.
Let's start off with college football.
Okay. So when we take a look at college football this week, in at number 5, I'm going with the Bulldogs of Georgia. They had an unbelievable victory last week, come from behind. It looked like Tennessee was going to win that football game for most of the contest, especially when it was 21-7 early. Then late in that game, when Tennessee goes up by 8. Big fourth down throw by Gunnar Stockton, and they end up winning the game in overtime. So give me Georgia into the 5th spot after their huge victory up against Tennessee. In at number 4, it's going to be the Seminoles of Florida State. They start off the season with a phenomenal showing and a statement victory up against Alabama. Then after that, they did play East Texas A&M. They smothered them 77-3. They have not played since. They do have Kent State this weekend. Then they have Virginia, and then you got a big game on October 4th up against Miami. But because of what they did up against Alabama, it's still them being deserving of the 4th spot. In at number 3, it's all about the U, baby. How about the Miami Hurricanes? You beat Notre Dame, you beat Bethune-Cookman, and then South Florida, who had 2 top 25 victories already this season, as South Florida opened up the year beating Boise State, and then followed it up with the victory up against Florida. Well, Miami just dragged them up and down the field 49-12. The next 2 weeks, or the next 2 games in between 3 weeks for Miami, they have Florida, and then they have Florida State. They are a 7.5-point favorite this weekend up against Florida, and then that October 4th game up against Florida State. That is a massive, absolutely massive football game. Then, in at number 2, I know their offense wasn't great, but the Tiger family is 3-0 to start this season. The defense. That's what it's been under Brian Kelly. The defense hasn't been good enough this year. They beat Clemson 17-10. They beat Louisiana Tech 23-7. They beat Florida 20-10. The defense made DJ Lagway throw not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5, count them, interceptions. What a performance defensively. The offense has to get going. Garrett Nussmeier isn't 100%. They have Southeast Louisiana this weekend. And then after that, fun game at Ole Miss, bye week, South Carolina, then at Vanderbilt, and then they have a stretch where they play in back-to-back weeks, A&M and Alabama. So you got 2 games back-to-back, I should say, A&M and Alabama, because there is an off week in between those 2 games. So I put LSU in at number 2. And then number 1, it's a defending national champion, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Don't get me wrong. All righty, after Texas, they haven't played anyone. They beat Grambling 70-0. You beat Ohio 37-9. But that victory up against Texas and the way that defense looked, impressive. So my top 5 teams in college football this week: Georgia 5, Florida State 4, Miami 3, LSU 2, and Ohio State 1. Samter, speak now or forever hold your peace.
I do. How about Oregon and your boy Dan Lanning?
I think Oregon is a top 5 team, but they haven't played anybody yet. Like at the end of the year, I think they'll be a top 5 team. They play Oregon State this weekend, but the real big one is Penn State next weekend at Penn State in Happy Valley. It just came down to this. Georgia beat Tennessee. Oregon hasn't really played anyone. Montana State, Oklahoma State, and Northwestern. So that's why I have Oregon left out of the top 5. It's just because of the schedule. I think you have to earn a spot in the top 5, not just rest on what you had last year.
And Hickey actually says he doesn't think Penn State belongs in the top 5 either, but why don't you
Did
have
he
them
actually, or are you just being
No, he said that. He said they're not playing well enough to be a top 5 team.
And I'm with him. All right, you blow out Nevada. You blow out Villanova. You played Florida International. I know it says 34-0, but that wasn't a good game. For Penn State, it's enough about the talking. It's enough about the potential. You got to show me. And you got to show me next weekend when you do go up against Oregon. So I'm not going to prematurely put them in the top 5 yet. Next team?
Let's go with Texas A&M with that big upset.
Yeah, I thought about them. I just value the Georgia victory up against Tennessee more than the A&M victory up against Notre Dame. Similar, Georgia to me just had the better victory.
And last one, Luke Altmaier and the Illinois Fighting Illini.
No, I'm a big fan of Brett Bielema. I think he beat up a lot of coaches. I think he'd be a great wrestler. And I'm a big fan of Luke Altmaier. I think one of the more underappreciated quarterbacks in the country. Let's see what they do after Indiana before I put them in the top 5. They're a good team. We'll see if they could be a great team. So let's go to the NFL. In at number 5, it was really pretty week 1 up against the Kansas City Chiefs. It wasn't all that pretty to end week 2 up against the Las Vegas Raiders, but you're 2-0, and that's what matters. Your defense playing awesome. Offensively, you could have been better last week, but the Chargers are 2-0, and they take a big head start in that AFC West lead, so the Chargers are in at number 5. Now, in at number 4, this team isn't undefeated. They had 1 loss. It was a game where for 85% of it, they were better than the Buffalo Bills, and then Josh Allen happened. I still think the Ravens are one of the more talented teams in the NFL. And then they just absolutely annihilated the Cleveland Browns after a little bit of a slow start, but they got things going. So I put the Ravens in at the 4th spot. I did bump the Eagles down a few spots. They were average up against the Cowboys. They won. They went into Arrowhead. They beat the Chiefs. That's what matters. I didn't think it was all that overly impressive. Their offense has to play better. Their defense still looks like it's really good from what they showed in week 2. The defense wasn't good in week 1, but the Eagles have so much talent, they need to be in there at number 3. And if that's the point that we're getting at with the Eagles, where we're nitpicking a victory up against the Chiefs, it shows you how great they can be. I'll put the Bills in at number 2. They may have the best win of the season so far, outside of maybe the Chargers beating the Chiefs. But the Bills beating the Ravens is just up there, if not better. And then, oh my God, Justin Fields, you would have thought he was a Hall of Famer after the Steelers game with the way that the Jets fans were talking about him. And Justin Fields did nothing in that game. Actually left the game, unfortunately, with the concussion in the 4th quarter, and he's already ruled out for the Jets game this week. But Buffalo, they did annihilate and smother the Jets. And at number 1, back-to-back weeks, unbelievable effort when you look at the Green Bay Packers. They had that week 1 victory where they destroyed the Lions, and in week 2, wire to wire, they were better than the Washington Commanders. The Lions last year were the number 1 seed in the NFC, and the Commanders were in the NFC Championship game. So Chargers 5, Ravens 4, Eagles 3, Bills 2, Packers 1. Samter, speak now or forever hold your peace.
I mean, NFC Championship runner-ups, the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, so I left them out. They beat the Giants, then they lost to the Green Bay Packers. I'm not going to crush them for the Packers loss. I think they're good. I don't think they're great. And now there's a status question. It's up in the air on Jaden Daniels. Is he iffy this week, dealing with a knee injury?
Singing the praises of Baker Mayfield. How about the Bucs?
So I love Baker. As easily as they are 2-0, they could also be 0-2. They could have lost that game to the Texans, and they probably should have lost that game to the Atlanta Falcons. So I think they're a good team. I think they're going to win the NFC South, but I'm not ready to put them in the top 5 because of that.
49ers and the Rams, both 2-0 out in the NFC West. Why didn't they get in there?
Yeah, I'm more bullish on the Rams than I am the 49ers. I look at the 49ers. I don't know how sustainable Mac Jones is. Now, there's a chance that Brock Purdy does play this weekend. I just wasn't blown away by the 49ers in either their victory up against the Seahawks or the Saints. It was tight. The Rams are probably the one that's a little bit more difficult for me. Week 1, they weren't stellar up against the Texans offensively, and week 2 that they played Tennessee. I think the Rams are very alive this weekend going to Philadelphia, but if they beat the Eagles, then they're absolutely going to be in the top 5 next week. They just got to show me more.
Can't believe you left out Hickey's Colts and Daniel Jones.
Good story, don't get me wrong. I think they're winning the AFC South. Am I ready to say that they're a top 5 team in the NFL? That's a no for me, dog.
And listen, I know the Chiefs are 0-2, but, I mean, they still are 3-time AFC champion, defending AFC champs.
Yeah, they're 0-2, though.
Yeah, but they lost. I mean, they lost to the Eagles, and they lost in Brazil to the Chargers.
Okay, they're still 0-2. How could I put an 0-2 team in the top 5? That's like putting Texas, who's 2-1, 8th in the AP poll. You got to do something this year before you should get a ranking that high. This is Take 5 Wednesday. Not Take 20 Wednesday, not Take 15 Wednesday. It's Take 5. I can't say the Chiefs are a top 5 team in the NFL. So this week, Chargers 5, Ravens 4, Eagles 3, Bills 2, Packers 1, Georgia 5, Florida State 4, Miami 3, LSU 2, and Ohio State 1. Josh Booty had to cancel. He won't join us next, but stay tuned. We'll tell you what we're talking about next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Alrighty, hour number 3 of our radio program. That's right, it is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. So I'm a little distracted here, I'm not going to lie. Because Stu seems too happy for it to just be a Wednesday. I don't know why Stu has such a big fat smile on his face. And Samter and Stu are kind of looking at each other like they're lovers. So the only thing that I could really guess here is that there's some crap going on in soccer. So Stu, what is going on? Because I just saw your body move in ways that I didn't even think it was humanly possible for Stuart Kovac's body to move. You were like Shakira. You were like Beyonce. You were like, who is it? J-Lo at the Super Bowl. Remember when everyone lost? It was J-Lo and was it Shakira, I think, at the Super Bowl together? I'm pretty sure in Miami. I know it was J-Lo. I want to say the other performer was Shakira. Am I right on that? I could be wrong.
I thought I remember her doing a recent one.
Let's do this real quickly. J-Lo, Shakira, halftime show. Let's see if it comes up. Yeah, it was Shakira and J-Lo, their halftime show. Remember the fake outrage from that halftime show? Where people were like, oh, how dare they wear short dresses and dance and it's too sexual. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like some boomers, they had some takes about that. Some like just crazy takes. They're like, oh, my kid's watching. I'm sure your kid in the comfort of their own home has said something a lot worse than J-Lo and Shakira dancing. But anyway, Stu, you reminded me of J-Lo and Shakira at the Super Bowl with how much you were dancing and moving your hips and going nuts during that break. So let me have you get it out of your system. What happened with this Fugazi soccer team?
All right. So Champions League started yesterday.
Started?
Yes.
When did it end? You were just
in
watching
May.
soccer
It ended
like
in
last
May.
week?
Champions League ended in May, and it starts in September.
So can I ask a really dumb question?
Sure.
Then what were you watching in June, July, August, and September?
Other soccer that is either international or, league play, like Premier League and, the domestic leagues, they start in August.
And, of course, there was the Club World Cup that we talked so
Right.
much about.
We talked a lot about that,
Samter's
yes.
favorite thing, the Club World Cup.
He loved the Club World Cup, yes.
I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah. Azaram, you were saying, I always mess this up. You were saying the Club World Cup you had more interest in than the World Cup. What was your stupid take on that?
Yeah, no, I wasn't saying that the Club World Cup is better than the
You were
World
just more
Cup.
interested.
I was just more interested because it was the first time, and it was going to be so interesting to see how it's kind of like how now we have the expanded playoff and all this kind of stuff, where you're seeing different conferences in different countries and the best teams from Brazil and Argentina playing against the best teams in Europe, which usually never happens. And the teams in South America, who are always written off compared to the European teams, they did very well.
I'm going to defer to Stu here because Samter may shoot me down on this because it won't help his point. Samter's comparison that it's called the Club World Cup. Is that what it was?
Yes.
That you were just more interested in watching that than the World Cup. Would that be like me saying I'm more interested in watching Live Golf when it first launched compared to the Ryder Cup? Would that be the comparison there?
I think that's fair. Just because it's new and it's something we hadn't seen before, so I could see that.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. No.
I can't get on board. Mike, I will. If you are going down on a sinking ship, I'll jump on and try to save you. I can't jump on that sinking ship. I can't.
But again, that's it. This is my opinion is subjective.
And I'm a big soccer guy now.
My opinion was subjective to me specifically. I wasn't saying
I just gave you guys a drop, by the way.
No, but
I just gave you a big drop right there.
Yeah, I'm going to pull that very quickly.
I'm
but
a soccer guy now.
I wasn't saying it's better or that everybody should be more interested. I was just saying personally, I was more interested just because it was something different.
Okay, so Stu, get it out of your system. What the heck happened with your soccer team?
Liverpool was up 2-0 very early in the first 6 minutes, and then they did what they always do. They kind of lollygag through the rest of the game. They gave 2 goals. I think the second one was around the 77th minute or so. And then in stoppage time, they scored the winner. So they won. For the 5th time this season, all their go-ahead goals have come after the 80th minute. So they've kind of had this mantra of winning a lot of games late, which I don't know how sustainable it is, but we'll see.
So that's game 1?
Game 1 of 8 in Champions League group stage play.
So what happens if you would have lost?
If they would have, it was 2-2. So if they would have drawn, it would have been 1 point instead of 3.
Okay.
If they would have, it just helps them advance to the next stage. The more games they win.
Gotcha. And let's say if
it's not the end of the world, but I kind of treat it like the end of the world.
Let's say if you didn't have to be at work today, where would you be for this game? Would you be at a bar with like 800 other crazy
Possibly.
people?
I've gone there. I've gone to the Liverpool bar in the city a lot. It kind of depends. If I didn't have work, it's kind of like a 50-50 if I would go to the bar for a
I think I
Champions League
told
game.
you this. You randomly popped up on my Instagram. Some restaurant was promoting, I guess, Liverpool playing, and I see you and Dexter Henry hugging each other, going nuts and freaking out at some restaurant. I go, I know those two bozos. I go, those are my two bozos.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, you guys. I didn't know. Did you plan that going together?
Kind of a couple weeks out because
He's a Liverpool fan.
He
Dexter?
is. Yeah, it was the week I was off in August, and they had a Monday afternoon game, which is kind of rare. So we were like, all right, let's watch this together.
Okay, enough with the soccer. Let's get back to real football. That's American football. That's the NFL. Don't shake your head at me, Samter, there. What we do on this show, NFL, college football, it's what pays the bills. We're not going to be sitting here talking about soccer for more than 5 minutes. Name another national radio host today in our universe, like in our world, that just talked about soccer for 5 minutes. I don't think there's one out there.
It's possible that Ryder's a huge Barcelona fan, and Barcelona's also involved in the Champions League. I don't believe they play
Bill's
together.
Barcelona fandom like questionable?
No.
He
He's hardcore.
Okay.
He is hardcore, yes.
Because I knew Bill as a mega Barcelona fan, because when I went to Barcelona, I ended up getting a scarf, and I ended up getting, I think, a hat, and it was an FC Barcelona hat, I believe. And Bill goes, oh, wow, I didn't know you like soccer. I didn't know you. I just bought it to buy it because I'm not a big soccer fan, and I feel like I'll just wear it one day and pretend I know what I'm talking about.
Did you go to Camp Nou?
Come again?
Did you go to their stadium, Camp Nou?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
Huh?
There was a game, but it was the day we were leaving, so it was too close. But there was a game. I stayed right across the street from the church, Sagrada Familia, I think is how you say it.
Yes, from Gaudi.
Yeah. By the way, the food in Barcelona.
Incredible.
The prices in Barcelona.
Amazing.
The women in Barcelona.
Don't get me started.
You married. Relax there, buddy.
Doesn't matter. Barcelona's a different planet.
Barcelona. I think I was in love when I was at a restaurant, and they came out with a syringe of pesto and injected it into their burrata. It was cool.
Oh, I was hoping they were going to inject it into your mouth.
Oh, calm down there, buddy.
Easy.
Take it easy. We're a family-friendly show.
Someone takes a syringe of pesto and just pulls it in my mouth. I mean, let's go.
A lot of drops in this segment.
Let's go. Put it in my mouth. Let's go.
Calm down. Settle down there. So I'm a big fan. You know what? Because the network, they love our show, and they send us to a lot of places, and a lot of other shows get jealous about it. Chris Olivero, Jeff Sotolano, David Mayernick, if you're listening right now, could we do a Zach Gelb Show trip to Barcelona? I think they'd be in. I don't think they would say no, right? I think they would say yes. And then Boyle and Bogish and Bellotti, they'd bitch about it for about 37 years.
They can't come.
Yeah. No, you know what?
Bogish can.
Bogisher, Patcher. I think you and Pete, I don't know what's going on with you and Pete, but you guys, you got to bury this. I can't go on a trip with Samter and have Pete there. Like, I got to go with one or the other because whatever's the crossfires between you two have been something.
I know he's your manager.
Oh, yeah,
but
that's true.
If you have to choose between me and Bellotti, there's better not be even like a half a second of contemplation.
Ask me the question again.
Between me and Bellotti in Barcelona, if you have to choose one of the two of us to go with you, you better not. There better be no hesitation who you choose here.
I would say or. Or sounds like a good option right there.
I freaking hate you. It's on.
Yes, obviously it would be you.
All right.
You know, is Pete fun on a trip?
No.
Like, here's the thing.
He's not. I've been on trips with Bellotti.
Say what you want about Samter. Samter is a good travel guy. That's the compliment I will give you. But, I'm not put in like a weird spot right here. It's a very weird spot. Stu, you'll go on the trip. All right? We'll send Stu and we'll go into the newsroom and we'll sell Samter and Bellotti's spot until they, break bread and actually behave like adults here. And you guys are the two oldest people kind of on staff, right? At the network?
I think I'm the oldest person in radio.
You are how old?
80.
Oh, no, what are you, 40?
45.
45. And how old's Pete? 40?
No, I think he's older than that. 43, 42.
So you guys are similar.
Yeah.
You know, Stu and I, we're younger. We act, mature.
First of all, Stu is 10 years younger than me and acts 10 years older than I do. Stu is like the most mature 32-year-old that I've ever met. How old
33.
Are you? Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
He's the most mature 33-year-old I've ever met.
By the way, remember when I ate those meatballs on the air yesterday that
Yes.
my dad made?
Yeah.
Word got back to my dad that Ack was not happy that he didn't get any. My dad just texted me. And my dad said to me, did Ack get the meatballs I left for him? Now, I think it's pretty lame of my father that he didn't make meatballs for Stu and he didn't make meatballs for Santa.
I agree.
So that's a bad job by Bob Gelb. But
I got a good relationship with Bob Gelb.
Do you?
Yeah, me and Bob go way back.
You think you have a good relationship with him. I don't know if you do. My dad doesn't like a lot of people. It has nothing to do with you. My dad just doesn't like people.
I'll be honest.
I'm surprised my dad even likes me.
I think we've talked 3 times in the 13 years I've been here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was just joking. I didn't steal a fan off his desk. I don't know if that's a good thing.
That is true. That is some deep history there. But Ack got meatballs.
Wow.
From my dad. So I'd be curious because Ack is a tough critic. He is a tough critic. I will be curious what my dad thinks. Those meatballs were very, very delicious yesterday. Real quickly, Raheem Morris, the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. This is what he said today at his press conference regarding Bijan Robinson. Go ahead.
Do you think Bijan's one of the best or one of the best players in football?
There ain't no doubt about it. He's definitely the best player in football, like in my head. I don't care. He's unbelievable. Like, I love the kid. I love everything about him. I love watching him with the ball. I love his confidence. I love his demeanor. I love his mindset. I love the leadership. I love everything about him.
Are you guys familiar with the term glazing? You guys familiar with that term?
Yeah, I've heard of that for sure, yes.
The kids are glazing. Bijan Robinson is phenomenal. He's been on this show twice. I'm a huge fan of his. You can't tell me he's the best player in football or even the best running back in football right now. What he did the other night, very impressive. He has the potential to be that. After the year that Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley just had, just for starters, how can't you say that Bijan is a better running back than those two? And also, no offense to Michael Penix Jr. with that big Penix energy. Josh Allen? Like, if you say, hey, Raheem Morris, who would you rather have, Josh Allen or Bijan Robinson? Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes or Bijan Robinson? Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson or Bijan Robinson? Well, obviously, Patrick Mahomes, right? Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. I also got to go Myles Garrett. Like, just for starters on the defensive side of the ball, I'd rather have Myles Garrett than Bijan Robinson. So you can't tell me he's the best player in football. If he would have just said he's one of the best players in football, I'm not crushing him. But the best player in football? Give me that answer one more time. I just want to thoroughly dissect it. By the way, we just got a text from our boss, David Mayernick. Tickets to Spain. First class for Zach. Stu is in the middle. Pete and Bilotti are underneath the plane.
Pete and Bilotti?
Oh, sorry, Samter and Bilotti. Did I say Pete and Bilotti?
It's all right.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad that you
maybe they
didn't
booked 2
compare me
seats
to
for
Bilotti.
Pete.
Yeah.
Play me that audio of Raheem Morris one more time.
Do you think Bijan's one of the best or one of the best players in football?
There ain't no doubt about it. He's
Fine.
definitely the best player in football. Like,
He
in
doesn't
my
even
head.
believe
I don't
that.
care. He's unbelievable. Like, I love the kid. I love everything about him. I love watching him with the ball. I
you
love
don't
his
believe
confidence. I love his demeanor. I love his mindset. I love the leadership. I love everything about him.
Yeah, he doesn't believe that. You can even hear it in the answer. Like, he loves the kid. He's one of the best players in football. The best, he even realized that it was a little silly to say. Let's hear Jim Harbaugh the other way. We go from Raheem Morris glazing Bijan Robinson to Jim Harbaugh glazing one Derwin James.
He was playing at the line of scrimmage. He was playing in the intermediate. He was playing in the deep half and the deep part of the field and blitzing off the edge. He just, I've called him the best safety I've ever seen in the history of the National Football League. I don't think I'm going out on a limb there.
Yeah, you are.
Ronnie Lott, Brian Dawkins, Troy Polamalu, Ed Reed. Yeah. about right now in the NFL? Kyle Hamilton, Antoine Winfield Jr. Just saying. So there's a lot of glazing right now. And that's the world we live in right now. Everyone's the GOAT in the moment. Everyone's the best in the moment. It's kind of insufferable. Raheem Morris could say, I love Bijan Robinson. I think he's one of the best players. That was the question. It wasn't are you the best, right? It was, is he one of the best players in football? And you went to, he's the best player in the league. Huh? Jim Harbaugh, Derwin James. If you said one of the most versatile safeties in the league, maybe a different story. One of the best safeties in the league. But the best, you could even say the best safety in the league. I would disagree with it, but you could say it. It's not crazy. The best safety you've ever seen? Jim, you're a football historian. You're a football guy. The best safety in the history of the league? What are we doing? But that's NFL, that's college football right now. Everyone's got to be the best. We got to worry about everyone's feelings in the moment. Guy has 2 seasons. He's the best player in football. Derwin James, made a great play, has had a really good career. He's the best safety I've ever seen. Huh? What are we doing? What are we doing? Seriously. Who was the guy? It was, I think it was the former Alabama basketball player. Didn't he say, Paul George is his GOAT? I'm pretty sure that was him.
Brandon Miller.
Yeah, Brandon Miller. Was that the Paul George GOAT thing?
Yeah, but I think we discussed it. I think he was talking about his favorite
GOAT,
his GOAT, but still, yeah, it's a bad.
Samter, who's your favorite football player of all time?
Rob Moore.
Okay, would you say he's the GOAT?
Yep. Greatest receiver I've ever seen. No, of course not.
Right? Stu, who's your favorite football player of all time?
Rich Gannon.
I like
Good
Rich
player.
Gannon. No, he's a Raider fan.
Why would it not be Rich Gannon? Who else would it be?
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Max Crosby?
Charles Woodson's up there, too, but it's Rich Gannon for me.
Yeah, would you say he's the GOAT?
I would not say that, no.
So there's a difference. There's a difference in who's the GOAT and who's your favorite player. There's a difference in being one of the best players in the league and then the greatest safety or the greatest running back in the league currently. What are we doing? I'm surprised he didn't say Rod Tidwell, by the way. Samter. I'm surprised he didn't say Rod Tidwell.
Show me the money.
Especially with your Arizona fandom now. Hey, by the way.
Where's the Quan? The Quan.
Quick question for you. There was a certain backpack on your desk.
Uh-oh.
I didn't put it there. Is someone playing a prank on you?
No, that's my new backpack.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, I wasn't seeing things. I wasn't hanging out with Stu before the show and hallucinating. Samter, who just in our tenure together, which has been 2.5 years?
About.
Yeah. I've seen Samter be a Jet fan, into a Chief fan, back to the Jets, back to the Chiefs. Then, just as of yesterday, you declared your fandom for the Arizona Cardinals, who you used to work for.
Yes.
Today, I walk in. Samter, who's a 2-time Jet fan, has a Patriots backpack on your desk?
Where did I go to college?
You went to college in Boston.
Boston University.
You hate the Patriots, though.
What? What are you talking about, hate the Patriots?
You have a Patriots backpack now. That is actually yours backpack.
I've had this for years. I've been a Patriot. Dude, I used to go to games in Foxborough every Sunday.
What's the name of their stadium?
What?
What's the name of their stadium?
I mean, it was Gillette. Is it
still
not?
Is.
Yeah, okay, there you go. I was at the game where the greatest quarterback of all time came in. I was at the game when Mo Lewis knocked Drew Bledsoe.
Jets.
I still have the ticket from that game when Tom Brady came in.
You know that was the game after 9/11? That was the Patriots' first game back after 9/11? That was the Joe Andruzzi flag game.
Come on, baby.
Where he ran out in the field and they honored his firefighter.
Why would you think? Why would you doubt my Patriot fandom? Why would you doubt
Just do me
it?
a favor. Take Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski and Vince Wilfork off the table, or what the former mayor say, Wolfspoon or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And honk.
Jason Varitek split the uprights.
Yeah. Who's some of your favorite Patriot players of all time? Who do you like?
Oh, I mean, for me, Corey Dillon is right up there.
Because I mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
Someone I haven't mentioned.
Richard Seymour, Ty Law. Lawyer Malloy.
Oh, Lawyer Malloy.
Yeah,
good
big
name.
fan.
Wow.
You go back a little bit. I gotta love Drew Bledsoe. He's been on the show a few times.
Can you just do me a favor?
Yeah.
My hearing in my older age,
Andre
my
Tippett.
hearing
Big
is getting
Andre
bad.
Tippett guy.
Yeah, basically like a relative of mine.
Yeah.
Just my hearing is getting bad. You're a fan of who now? Who are you rooting for?
Let's go Pats.
Wow.
Yeah, Patriots, baby. All about the Patriots. And first of all, our good friend Sully, his family used to be the owners of the Patriots.
Yeah.
How could I not love them?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, let's go.
So, Samter,
Let's
you
go.
are such a whore. You are a sports whore, the Hugh Hefner of sports fandom.
You know what?
Jets, Chiefs, Cardinals, now Patriots.
It's not being
You
a
are such a
whore
kiss
if I
ass,
lived
by the
in
way.
Boston.
You're sucking up to me.
I lived in Boston. This is who I got to see every week. Of course, why would I be a whore?
Guess I got
I was at the celebration on Harvard Ave and Com Ave when the Patriots won the first Super Bowl. I climbed a light post. I saw people jumping off of buses.
But the light post didn't fall down and hit you.
Maybe that's why my memory is so bad.
All righty, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. The great, and I mean the great. Maybe, if Raheem Morris is going to say that Bijan Robinson's the best player in football right now, if Jim Harbaugh is going to say that Derwin James is the greatest safety he's ever seen, I'm going to say Ricky Ricardo is the greatest, not only Spanish broadcaster of all time, the greatest broadcaster, period, of all time. He joins us in studio next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show.
All right, it is the Zach Gelb Show where we ask the hard-hitting questions. The great Ricky Ricardo is in studio with us right now, the Spanish play-by-play voice of the Philadelphia Eagles and also the New York Yankees. Ricky, great to see you as always. How are you?
As the great John Sterling would have said, hello, my boy.
Yeah, what's going on? I have a very serious question to ask you.
What's that?
Let's say you're walking out of your palatial estate.
Yeah.
You
Florida one or Jersey one?
Let's go Jersey.
All right.
Let's say Jersey. Ricky's got two palatial estates, and then he's got the secret home. You know, that third home.
There is a third home.
That secret home that nobody talks about.
There is a third home in Miami.
You look like a guy that has a secret home. It's like that cowboy house that they were talking about in the documentary.
One by the beach in Florida. Then there's one that's not by a beach in Florida, and then there's Jersey.
Yeah, Ricky's fifth and sixth wife also have places as well. I see those checks that come in each and every month to the station, but
you don't see the ones that go out.
Yeah. Let's say that you're walking, and you step out of your apartment or your 7-bedroom mansion that you have, and you step in.
5.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Who's counting?
You step in gum or you step in dog poop? Which one would you rather step in if you had to step in one?
Ooh. Give me the organic dog poop.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the gum, I think it's disgusting
the gum is,
to take
they're
the
both
dog
disgusting.
poop off the shoe, but the gum gets stuck in the shoe.
Right, and plus it's easier for me to forgive the dog because he doesn't, he's got to go, he's got to go. Some human dropped gum. All right, and I can be legitimately mad at a human for being such a pig, whereas, in the case I'm a dog guy, I like dog, we have two, so it wouldn't bother me as much because, hey, the dog had to go, he had to go.
All righty, this entire offseason, everyone's bitching about the tush push. The NFL didn't get rid of it, so I would say people should stop bitching about it now. But after this weekend, the one legitimate gripe is that the Eagles do jump, right? That's a heightened awareness now. That's probably going to get called. I never realized it beforehand, but now there's attention to it. But like Adam Schefter, who I like, now saying, the reason the Chiefs lost that game is because they didn't overturn the rule. The commentary here is ridiculous about the
because
tush push.
They didn't overturn the tush push rule. That's why we beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's why. That's where the game was lost. The game was lost in the offseason when the rule wasn't overturned.
Look, it is a legal play. We watched Buffalo attempt it against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. On 3 occasions and couldn't get it done.
Vikings messed it up the other night.
Vikings have tried and couldn't get it done. The mere fact that the Eagles have mastered the tush push. We do it better. And I say we, the Eagles.
Oh, you do have 2 Super Bowl rings.
2 Super Bowl rings and an NFC Championship ring, too.
Yeah, but who cares about the NFC Championship ring?
That's true. But just because of the fact that they
It's like
have
a redheaded stepchild.
I never wear it. Just because of the fact that they have mastered it. And remember, they've had to readjust since Kelsey left because the key guy in the original tush push was Kelsey. Now it is really Landon Dickerson that most of the time.
Different angle they're tushing.
The different angle, yeah. But you've got Mailata, who's obviously got a background in Australian rules football, so he knows how to go forward. And look, the Eagles have perfected something that until the day the NFL says no more and it's illegal, why are you going to throw this in our face?
Do you think? And I'm a supporter of the tush push, but it does feel
which has a sponsor, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
The
wipes.
The dude wipes,
Dude
right?
wipes.
Yeah, I saw that. It does feel like
which
this
is great, by the way.
Yeah. Ricky's like, if you want to endorse me, if you want me to endorse the product, hit me up.
Los dude wipes en español.
You did smell a little bit before you sat down. I think you could use some of those dude wipes.
In case I get the dog poop, I use the dude wipe.
Of course. It does feel like, though, this will be the last year of the tush push. Do you agree with that?
I don't know. I mean, how big was the vote? How did it grow? Because they voted on this thing now twice, right?
Yeah, I think there was,
at the owners' meetings,
right, there was 8 to 10 teams somewhere in that range. Like, I think it just missed in terms of.
I think it was about a 4 or 5 vote in the, positive direction for the Eagles this year.
Yeah.
Are you going to convince enough? Oh, first of all, does someone again bring it to the table? Some other team's
I
going
would
to
imagine.
Well, the Packers are going to go, oh, we told you so. We should have done it last. I mean,
so it was 22 to 10 in terms of the voting.
20, and how many have to?
And you need to get to 24. So it was 2 votes away.
2 votes short.
Yeah.
Oh, look. In the meantime, if it helps us get to,
that's why I had 8. It was
deep into another playoff run and maybe another Super Bowl, and so be it. It is a legal play. The Eagles have mastered how to do it, and in the meantime, coaches go to practice. Teach your guys how to do it, master it the way the Eagles have, and maybe you might come away with an extra win or 2.
It's really crazy the amount of excuses people make when they can't beat a certain team. And I lived through it with my football team, the Patriots. Everyone was bitching for all these years and making excuses and the boogeyman and all that stuff. Ooh. Just go like the Chiefs, with how poorly they played, they still could have beat the Eagles this weekend. So don't sit there and complain about the tush push. And Chris Jones, too, walking up to Jalen Hurts. I thought that was AI. Oh, what are you celebrating? You have only 100 yards. He goes, yeah, we're going to win. You're going to lose.
Right.
Shut up, Chris Jones.
You didn't get to 100 yards. And Jalen let him know. It pointed at the scoreboard. Yeah. We're winning the effing game, okay? which is the whole point of this thing, as Herm Edwards once said.
You play to win the game. This weekend, though, Eagles play the Rams. Mm-hmm. I remember when the Eagles lost the Super Bowl to the Kansas City Chiefs, it felt like that was their Super Bowl in the regular season the following year up against the Kansas City Chiefs. They ended up winning that game.
The Monday Nighter in the rain.
Yeah, that's when Sirianni was walking off the field and was going nuts and going crazy. The Rams-Eagles playoff game, I was there, South Philadelphia. We know you were on the call. It was snowy. Driving home from that was not fun. Yeah. And trying to get the car out from underneath all that snow.
Started to snow in the third quarter.
And it became a blizzard real quick. Mm-hmm. The Rams almost won that game, though. And the Rams have been talking about that all offseason long, how they felt like they were right there. And you look, the Eagles ended up going on and winning the Super Bowl, where the next week they win the NFC Championship game against the Commanders, and 2 weeks later they smothered the Chiefs. I think the Eagles overall a better team than the Rams. I think the Rams win this weekend because I think this game's just more important to the Rams than it is the Eagles.
They probably have a chip on their shoulder. I get it. It's the Jalen Carter sack that really turned that around because, Stafford was moving them right down the field. There was one pass into the corner of the end zone that could have been caught and made a difference. But the Carter sack, that turned that whole thing around because the momentum was clearly in the Rams' favor after. And you would figure the California team wouldn't react to the snow the way that they did, or the SoFi indoor beautiful stadium team. But they played better in the bad conditions, better than the Eagles did in that fourth quarter that night.
Now the bosses talked to me before we brought you in here today. A source told me that last night
we have the same boss, by the way.
I know our bosses.
Yeah.
Source came up to me and said last night before the start of the Yankee game, you were channeling your inner Jalen Carter and you hocked a loogie in a producer's face. Is that true?
A Dak-Tua?
Yeah.
No, that would not be correct.
Okay.
I am much
just
more.
making sure Jalen's not rubbing off.
No. Much more sanitary than that.
Okay, usually when we have you in here,
But baseball players spit all the time.
you can't spit on someone.
No, not on someone.
Yeah, like Dak, he issued a little mark the territory warning shot.
Do you
first.
buy the fact that Dak baited him into doing that? That theory, do you buy that? I mean, is he sharp enough? Because Ben, poor
like
Ben,
Dak
Ben,
did- no,
Ben
no.
Summerlin's on the turf being carted off. That's the only reason they even had enough time to have that exchange.
I think Dak was like, dude, get away from my huddle, because he was very close to the team.
Right.
And he just kind of spat out there like a little warning shot. I don't think it was directed to hit him. And then Jalen, who he's not that mature, lost his mind and then spit into him. I don't think Dak said, oh, let me spit at Jalen Carter to provoke him. To then fire spit back in his cabeza.
I don't see all of that,
So usually we have you do a Spanish play-by-play call for us. Whether it's
touchdown, Philadelphia.
Yeah, whether it's an NFL call,
Right.
Zach Gelb doing something in Major League Baseball.
Right.
Well, I'm going to give you a little tricky one here today.
Oh.
So my dad yesterday, it was the 1-year anniversary of my grandmother passing. So my dad wanted to make meatballs, and he left me some meatballs
The
here.
great Bob Gelb.
Yeah,
by the way.
he's average. He's a little past his prime. I don't know if we have to go.
Well,
great.
he's on my generation line.
I'm not like Raheem Morris.
I'm your uncle.
Who Bijan Robinson, my Tio.
Yeah, I'm his brother.
Bijan Robinson, according to Raheem Morris, right? He's the best player in football. Jim Harbaugh, Derwin James, the greatest safety of all time. But that's a good guy, right? Is he the great? I don't know about that. But anyway, he made great meatballs yesterday. And I was eating them on the air while I was doing a segment.
Mm-hmm.
And Ack was a little offended that my dad made some meatballs and didn't make any for Ack. So my dad made more meatballs.
Really?
And left them from Ack today. So can you do the Spanish play-by-play of Ack eating Bob Gelb's delicious meatballs? Have to emphasize the meat there.
There is a word in Spanish for meatballs.
Carne?
Albóndigas.
Okay, so give me the play-by-play. Give me like 30 seconds of Ack sitting down at the table eating Bob Gelb's meatballs.
Meatballs.
Yes.
Okay. El señor Richard Ackerman, ofendido porque Bob Gelb no le dio albóndigas, se sienta en la mesa a comer. Calienta las albóndigas. Ackerman a la boca. Ackerman traga. Ackerman le encantaron las albóndigas. Richard Ackerman, touchdown meatballs.
Sí, señor. Sí, señor.
Sí, señor. No, señor. No meatballs for me. Where are mine?
Gracias, señor Gelb.
Yeah. Now everyone's going to be coming after me. My dad makes me some meatballs. Ack's annoyed.
I'll bring in the bread, the hoagie bread from Licio's, one of the great Philly bakeries.
Yeah.
All right? And we'll have some real legitimate meatball heroes here.
I brought in bread from Moretti's of Brooklyn.
I know the Amoroso family, so we get the
Okay,
Amoroso
there you
rolls
go.
if we want to.
All right. Taste test.
So yesterday, Ack was annoyed at me. Today, Stu and Samter are now annoyed. Oh, your dad makes meatballs for Ack and not for me, like my guys behind the glass. And now Ricky's mad at me. Bob Gelb, just wait till I come home and visit you to make me food.
He's in sales. He's got to do business. He can't make meatballs for everybody all day. I'm an exception. I know.
Wow. And if Ack didn't get the meatballs, he'd be throwing Bob Gelb under the bus.
That's right. That's right. What, no meatballs?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great.
The great Ricky Ricardo in studio with us. Ricky, muchas gracias.
Eagles 27, Rams 24.
Okay, and real quickly, the Yankees. How are we talking about them at the end of the season?
Yankees maybe a little too late for the American League East. 6 is the magic number for Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Yankees, Red Sox, wouldn't that be a spicy division?
Spicy meatball.
A spicy meatball wild card round? Huh?
It would be fun.
All right.
I remember a few years. Yankees played the Red Sox a few years ago.
Yes.
Now it's 3 games, but the Yankees lost.
It was
to
a
the Red
one-gamer.
Sox at Yankee Stadium.
Garrett Cole. No, that was at Fenway.
Oh, then maybe it was before that because I was at a wild card round where the Yankees played the.
Remember Schwarber hit a home run?
Yeah. Well, Gary Sanchez was on the team. I remember Sanchez late.
Well, Cole started the game I'm talking about.
Okay, so that was then. I'm thinking of the one before that then, because Sanchez late in the game hit a fly ball to left field and it wasn't there. And I had a friend who's a Red Sox fan who was at the game, and the fans were the Yankee fans.
Would that have been the 19-run output Red Sox playoff game?
I don't remember. No, the 19 output wasn't that 2004?
No.
Yeah.
No.
At Fenway.
No, at Yankee Stadium when they eliminated the Yankees. The night they eliminated the Yankees, I guess it was 19.
Mm-hmm. I think there was also
Who
19.
was who's the guy the guy hit for the cycle, reserve infielder?
Well, Middlebrooks?
No, the little reserve.
Lowry?
Reserve infielder hit for the cycle,
Not
and he
Robbie
finished it.
Refsnyder.
No, and he finished it off with a home run to right.
Let's see. Reserve infielder, cycle,
little
Yankee, Red Sox,
utility
playoff
guy.
game. Let's see.
In a 19, I think it was an.
Oh, Brock Holt.
Brock Holt.
Yeah, that was the game. It was 2018. So my friend,
18.
A friend of mine is a Red Sox fan. So I said, I got us 2 tickets. We could go, and they were throwing like peanuts at him during the game. So when Sanchez hit the ball to left, the section was ready to pounce on him, and then it didn't go out of the park. He starts during New York. He starts kicking and dancing and waving goodbye.
Not good. But that
Thank
was
God we were in the rich people.
The Brock Holt extravaganza.
Yeah, Brock
I'll never
Holt.
forget it.
There you go. Okay. The great Ricky Ricardo. Ricky, thank you so much.
Anytime.
All righty. Let's get the latest update in with the Ackman, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with their easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. Jaden Daniels has been bothered by a sprained knee. Head coach Dan Quinn said the Commanders' quarterback won't practice until Friday, which leaves his status for this Sunday in jeopardy. Justin Fields is out. The Jets' quarterback remains in concussion protocol, so Tyrod Taylor will start. J.J. McCarthy definitely out with a high ankle sprain, so Carson Wentz will go against the Bengals. The Chargers' Khalil Mack is dealing with an elbow injury. The encouraging news, it's not season-ending. The bad news, he did go on injured reserve and will miss at least the next 4 weeks. Baseball today, the Cubs lock up a playoff berth, defeating the Pirates by a score of 8-4, while the Orioles sweep the White Sox 3-1. The Reds, trying to stay in the wild card race, pulled to within a game and a half of the Mets tonight as they defeat the Cardinals 6-2. Spencer Steer homered and drove in 5. The Mets will host the Padres in about an hour and a half from now. The Giants and Diamondbacks also in the mix in the wild card race. Arizona game and a half back. That game is scoreless right now in the bottom half of the ninth. And the Nationals lead the Braves 3-1 top 6. I'm Rich Ackerman.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick. From the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, it's time to answer Ask the Pros question of the day. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Robert in Carolina says, Zach, Tua said he can't do half of what Josh Allen does. Do you appreciate the honesty, or does it sound weak? You could submit a question by tweeting at INFSportsHead or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag AskThePros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Let's hear those comments from Tua Tagovailoa, and then we'll react to it.
He's top tier. You know, if it's not with his arm, it's with his legs. You know, that dude can do literally anything he wants. So definitely different skill set for me. I can't do half of what he does when it comes to running the ball and any of that. And then with how he can just chuck a ball down the field, you know, with how far and the arm strength that he has, you know, he's supreme when it comes to that.
I got no problem with it. I don't think it's weak whatsoever. He's being complimentary to another player that is better than him. The other player was the MVP of the league last year, and the Bills have owned the Miami Dolphins. I got no problem with Tua Tagovailoa praising Josh Allen in that spot. I have more of an issue with Tua and Mike McDaniel. This was Tua yesterday talking about some of the issues on offense. It seems like there's some issues between Tua and Mike McDaniel.
That was really frustrating. It was frustrating with the communication with the guys inside the huddle, and then what the personnel is, then the play for those guys. Do we have too many guys in? Why do we have another guy running in? Just the whole operation of that was not up to standard, was not up to par, and I got to do a better job with our guys in that sense.
Who's that fall on? How does that fall on? What's the communication?
Well, we have until the 15 second mark until it cuts off with the communication with Mike. So depending on what the personnel is, depending on what we were trying to do there, if it was a wristband call or if it was a call it in the headset, there's a lot of things in that sense that play a role in if we're getting to the right things or if we're not getting to the right things. So that was sort of the mix-up of communication there.
Anytime he starts to blame the coach, he then takes responsibility for it. But I still don't think it erases the first part of that statement. That's something to monitor. Let's get to one other thing that's been making the rounds here. A.J. Brown had some comments about the state of the Eagles' offense and where his concern level is at.
The goal is to win the game. So, no matter what that looks like, I think the reason why people may talk about it because they want to know if it's substantial, and can you sustain that throughout the season. So, I think that's fair. I think that's a fair thing to talk about. But, our job is to continue to try to find a way to win.
If you had to take a guess through 2 games, how many catches do you think A.J. Brown has?
2.
2? You say 2, Samter? Stu?
I'll say 3.
He has 6 catches.
Wow.
Had 1 up against the Cowboys, had 5 up against the Chiefs. 5 for 27, 1 for 8. Oh, I'll tell you this. I am going to place a bet right when the show ends this weekend. Anytime touchdown this week, A.J. Brown. This is what A.J. Brown does, right? Yeah, the goal is to win. They haven't got the ball barely to him. He's basically begging to get the football thrown to him. And I know he said all the right things there, and we'll see if it's sustainable. So there is some ambiguity there, some questions there. But when he doesn't get the ball enough, they then make it a priority to go get the ball to him, and it usually doesn't last more than 2 weeks. So I think A.J. Brown, anytime touchdown, could be my favorite bet of the week early on a Wednesday for week 3 of the NFL season. And I can't really crush they just won a Super Bowl. And they're 2-0 to start off the season. So you've seen it from both ways. They were 10-1. People said, they weren't playing that great. And then they won 1 game down the stretch. Last year, they weren't playing that great, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. So I'm not going to freak out about it. One last note, by the way. We have an Infinity Sports Network host who's sensitive and who is annoyed. A guy that I like a lot with this Pat Boyle Vegas draft. So Pete the Body Bilotti's team was Sean Marash. So anyone that's ever worked for the network. Andy Gresh. Gresh keeps on getting thrown on these lists. The Backstreet Boys play at the Sphere a lot. You may not want Gresh there. Manny Rodriguez. Jody Mack. Boyles was Carlos with the K, Maggie Gray, David Mayernick, and myself. Oh, that's elite. And Andrew Bogusch is Scott Farrell. See? Bogues, he was so sensitive last time when they were stupid leaving off Scott Farrell. Now he's sucking up. Shake it up, Andrew Bogusch. I still don't like you. You didn't put me on the list. Screw you. Bleep off. So Bogusch has Farrell. Mike Baseglia, my former producer. Bill Ryder, and then Tiki Barber. So Bogusch is still sucking on up to Tiki. You know who's on that list? Bart Winkler. And Bart Winkler, he said, the first draft didn't offend me. This one does. Maggie Gray says, I can party all night until 9:30 p.m. Maggie gets sick a lot, too, on these trips. And then Sean Marash, I don't get this segment. Look at Marash. How about that? Oh, boy. Yeah. We got to start giving more credit to Bart Winkler. I saw some company wrote something up and they didn't mention that his show was on the network. And he goes, look, they mentioned Zach Gelb. They mentioned Pat Boyle. They mentioned JR. They mentioned Bill Ryder. They mentioned Rich Eisen. They mentioned Maggie Gray and Andrew Perloff. They didn't mention him. And also, Perloff's got to be on this Vegas list. Because if you actually do your homework, which Bilotti and Bogusch don't, then you get Perloff's friend with you on the trip, Sully, who lives in Las Vegas and has all these connections. We'll talk to you tomorrow, everybody. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining.